Johnny with the executive committee report.
Okay, all the checks were, checked out good. Sales tax is up, 29,185 from the last month. And we're up 10.22% from last year.
Moving on to item B, the vote on approval of the May 7th board meeting minutes and the May 19th finance committee.
I make a motion to accept these, approvals.
All in favor? Let's see, I'd like to recognize Janelle Scott as June Employee of the Month.
Is she not here? We'll go ahead and talk about it.
We'll see if we can get her here to the door.
Oh, okay, okay.
Let's try that, yeah. She may be on vacation.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to D then. Caldwell Masonic Lodge, Dyslexia Learning Resources. Some gentlemen here to discuss that.
Jimbo, just make sure that you got on the agenda, even though you won't get me on the holy jury. So you owe me one. Whatever you want.
Have some information packets. The main guy that's over, he couldn't be here on short notice when the board meeting changed its date, so y'all just gonna have to suffer with me kind of presenting it. I need to stand somewhere.
I stand right here.
Stand right here? All right. So, the Masonic Lodge, the Grand Lodge, so all of Louisiana, we have a learning center and we have a dyslexia program. So the dyslexia program, the Masonic Lodge will pay teachers who want to participate in this. They will pay to have them train, and they will pay for them to teach additional dyslexia classes after school. They will provide everything. They will provide the training for the teachers. They will provide any school materials that they need. They will provide, like I said, the payment for the teachers. I want to say they pay them $50 an hour for teaching and $15 an hour for any prep time. The program, they like to do it inside of the school, and because the kids are already at school, they can switch to a different room after school, and they can have the class there, and then the parents can pick them up afterwards. The program usually, they like to see 3 to 5 hours per week for the students, and so it's up to the teacher to kind of try to make up a schedule where they can do that. Also, it's about a 2 to 3 year course for the kids. And they take kids from the age of 8 to 17, so, but mostly focusing on the elementary kids. And, but anyway, the main thing is it doesn't cost the school anything. We, like I said, we would pay the teachers, we would provide the materials. All the school board would have to do is give permission for the teacher to use whichever room or facility y'all want them to use. And, also, they did tell me that they do provide insurance, so you know, if the teacher, the kids are there after school, that we do provide liability insurance for the kids and the teachers and the building that they are in. So.
Do y'all hire separate teachers, or do you get someone from the school to do it?
They'd like to get someone local here to do it. There's a form or one of those flyers we have somewhere. It's right here. I only had a few of these printed out, but the teachers can apply.
Oh, that's okay.
But I can get more if I need it. But the teachers apply at there's a link here that they go to, and they just apply for the dyslexic program head, and they'll, if they're selected, then they'll go through the process of training them and teaching them how to teach dyslexic kids, and kind of goes from there. So really what it comes down to is we need help, or it's kind of more of a group effort. We need help identifying the kids that are dyslexic and would qualify for this program, and then also we need help getting the teachers figuring out who wants to do that. And then from there, we'll train them and do all that kind of stuff. It's a pretty important program, I would think, because I do have dyslexia, and I made it through the first grade here without being able to read. And when Miss Guerrero got me in the second grade, they found out I could read. So, yeah, I even had my mother fooled, and she has a master's plus 30 with a reading specialist degree, and I had the entire book memorized because unfortunately my first grade teacher, she played the audio book. So as long as I saw a picture of the page, I could begin recitation, and the audio book said when to flip the page. So I had the book memorized cover to cover. So yes, so Miss Guerrero had to work with me in school. My mom worked with me at night, and then Miss Guerrero had me summer school, and then I myself actually had to go to Thibodeau to Nichols State 2 summers in a row for a different dyslexia camp down there. So yeah, that was pretty rough to get me from not reading to reading. But a lot of kids, going down to Nichols State during the summer, that's just really not an option. But it would be a whole lot better if we actually had a program here that would help kids. So that was why we just wanted to present this as an option, and we would really like to move forward with making it happen here.
Retired teachers will be,
Yes, I was reading, it's in that packet. Basically, any teacher that's qualified and has teaching certifications can qualify. Retired teachers or a teacher now that wants to make a little extra money on the side, any of them can apply.
So, Ms. Guerrero and Ms. Meredith is actually, what is your title? One of your titles?
Special education.
But with the dyslexia, isn't that one of your new titles, don't you have to?
Yeah, apparently.
Yes.
I did.
Dyslexia kind of falls in between the two of them with the state, so maybe we could set up a meeting with the two of them to get this rolling.
Okay.
But Nick, I think it needs to go before the policy committee with you
Okay.
guys, because if we're gonna be doing some hiring, I wanna make sure that we follow the hiring policy with regards to the stuff that we have in place. So, Melinda, I think you own it.
but we don't hire, y'all hire,
We hire.
they hire.
Well, we pay the teachers. It's no cost to the school. The only cost for the school would be just simply keeping your doors open a little later. So we would pay the teachers. We would.
Still, let's go before the committee. We wanna make sure everything is okay. I think it's a great program, but I just wanna make sure we're doing what we need to do. So, if we can meet next week, what I'll do is we can put a motion, forward, contingent on everything working out with the athletic, with the policy committee to make sure that there's no delays for you guys. So if that's okay with you guys, we'll just go on and approve it tonight, contingent upon everything. So you should be okay and get ready to do what you need to do.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jimbo, you satisfied?
Thank you.
Is that it?
Feel free to stay or feel free to go.
All right, item E, the Louisiana compliance questionnaire for fiscal year 26 audit.
All right, it's same as what y'all have always seen in past years. It's just a basic information sheet for the auditors that we're required to provide to the auditors. Legislative auditors want to write all this stuff out, the boilerplate and they put it in. So there's really not a lot to it. We need to talk about it. I don't think unless y'all drill down. And the board has to approve this. And we did move that part in there.
So Kaylee, this wasn't sent to us, right?
Well, she did ask me, I wanted that part out, of what to say, and I found that thing to me. So, but it's a
this is the same as previous year,
Yes.
since
In
we
fact,
just,
I think this one's identical to the past 2 years because it's a 4-year cycle, with the board members. So,
so we,
Have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to item F, review and vote on fiscal year 26 budget amendments.
all right.
David?
F might be the appropriate line item to have it in. I got two things I want to talk about. The first one is the general fund budget. Y'all seen these numbers before. Now, we're looking at $795,000 deficit for this year. That's what we were talking about in the original,
so what is the number, David?
795. It's column A, line 61.
We weren't able to move some of the federal money around like they were gonna try to do.
That's possible. As far, I mean, if we can, we can. I don't think all that's fully known yet. This just documents where we're gonna be
To work on it.
at, with present information. Has something to say on that? We started the year at $300,000 deficit. We're ending the year with roughly $795,000 deficit. If you look at line, well, the first yellow line, total revenues, column C, that's one that is the painful one. We're off $430,000. $395,000 is MFP money. And $331,000 of that $395,000 was the result of changing per pupil amount by the state from $8,250 to $8,000 roughly. And so that 250 times the number of students is a $331,000 unexpected decrease.
Did we ever figure out why they changed that?
It's a massive formula, and it's, Nikki and I were on a phone call with it.
I know nothing more after the phone call than I knew before the phone call.
I felt better that the guy probably knew what he was talking about, because there was a little bit of glimmer of hope in my mind, and maybe Nikki's mind, that maybe they just screwed up something. He went through all the I'll say all, most of the spreadsheets, and he was hanging off of every line item. No, I don't have any.
So we end up with 200 less first of,
250.
this year than last
Yes, sir.
year.
We thought they'd made a mistake. They didn't make a mistake.
Right. And
That
you look
number
at our-
just fluctuates.
If you look at our prior history, we had 1 year of a decrease, and it was $10 or $11. I mean, minor. This year was way off the chart from what I expected. So out of 331, there was another $60,000 that I was off on student counts, basically. So I was pretty close on that. Property tax, we talked about that before, where the property values have decreased in the current year versus prior year. That was also unexpected. Together, those add up to, and a couple other line items, $440,000.
Some of it was change forms at the tax assessor's office.
Yes, yes, ma'am. And, in line 60, towards the bottom, total expenditures, we budgeted $15,261,000 originally, that's column B. And column A, I'm adjusting it back to $15,316,000. I was off $55,000, so pretty close. So, we started the year with $5,991,000 fund balance. I'm projected to end around $5.2 million. So, that's where we are.
So David,
Yes, sir.
based on what we heard today, if this person decides that they wanna force the board to use the fund balance money, that takes us what, 1 year, 2 year in operation maybe?
Uh,
I guess you multiply the amount of employees.
Right, and I'm not doing that part.
Right, yeah, no, so just kind of putting it out there.
Yeah. I mean, that's very.
So if you bad now, I mean, because what I heard him say was this, it's just like Act One, put the board against the superintendent. Now it's the school system against the district, because they're telling you that you have the money, but you're not spending it. Yeah, we have the money, but it's not being spent. That's the only way you're gonna be able to stay afloat. So if this is imposed, which I'm almost certain, you know, that he'll be successful in doing, like you and I talked earlier today. So if that's the case, I know we haven't had a chance to react to it yet, but I'm assuming that you're on slippery slope. Just kind of, so we can't keep putting Band-Aids on a sinking ship.
Yep.
So at some point, we gotta do what we need to do. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I just wanna make sure that that's understood.
I fully understand that. I mean, we were standing on a banana peel already, and now I think we're standing on a banana peel on a slippery slope.
Just because he's forcing you to do what he wants you to do, but he don't know all the variables and the attributes that exist, so you're being told to spend $10 million and you don't have but $1 million.
Right.
Just because he wasn't successful in doing what he should have been doing, and I'm hoping he's listening or somebody can tell him that a rural area, a small school cannot survive and will not survive. People don't want consolidation, but at some point that may be the only result that you have, because you're not going to be able to function the way that you are. So if we do what he's proposing us to do, then, I mean, the end is near.
Yeah.
I walked out of church Sunday and started fighting this at lunch from my grocery pickup parking lot. As soon as it came through, we started trying to fight this. We can't. We are already bleeding. We cannot afford this, and it falls on deaf ears.
But this has to go through the House of Representatives and into the Senate, correct?
2/3 vote.
So it ain't just, you can't just say this is what we're gonna do. The representatives have gotta pass it, and then it's gotta go to the Senate, and the Senate's gotta pass it. So we ain't, to give a little bit of hope, we ain't as deep as we might be. You gotta hope that there's some people with more sense.
But it's the conflict that he's creating, because those teachers know that you have a fund balance. Those teachers know that that money is there. So you're gonna tell them, no, I can't give it to you when the money's there? Again, it's divide and conquer, is the point I'm trying to make. So the 2/3 vote is not even on his radar. His issue is to create this division that's already there, in my opinion.
Well, I think some of that other division is only the K through 12 teachers get the raise.
Right.
So it's almost like it's trying to pit support staff against teachers.
And only the teachers who have a classroom, correct?
Right.
Only
Yeah.
certified teachers who are in a classroom. So think about teachers who don't have a classroom. You've got interventionists and integrationists and special education teachers. You've got people who are serving kids who are not classroom teachers. It's pitting those people against. And support for, I mean, it's.
And you're talking about cash reserves, and I sent y'all a text right before I walked in here that Washita has a $45 million cash balance, which looks like, holy cow, we're floating in cash. But then you look at, they have payroll, summer payrolls, and this is last year's numbers. They had summer payrolls of 22 million, so right off, they're down to 22 million, $23 million in fund balance. They spend $13 million every month. They only have operating reserves for less than 2 months. Our operating reserves are closer to 6 months. So I mean, theoretically, we're better off than Washita, which is shocking. Because you look at the numbers and we got $45 million in cash. And I'm afraid the governor looks at $45 million in cash and think that's free money. It's not free. I mean, it's
obligated.
It's barely, it's obligated in the bank, right? So, I mean, it's a spooky situation that the governor is proposing.
We've got a legislature and a governor that does not have an inkling of what goes on in the field, and that's the problem.
And the education legislative guy, right? But anyway, his comment was, we need to see how they're spending the money. Well, that's almost, I mean, it was a direct thought process of they're spending it recklessly. And I don't know about the other school boards, but I know how we are, and we're tight. So, there's no extra fluff that we have. Cut. So, all I need is come and check us out. Although I got that right now. So, don't hold your breath. So that's general fund.
Before you go into
Yes,
this.
sir.
So this $795,000,
Yes, sir.
This is for the 25-26 school year that we just completed.
About to complete, yes, sir.
What did the board approve that we should go over? 300,000?
300,000.
Okay, so the board approved, we knew that there was a possibility we may go over 300,000.
Well, we were hoping we would.
We hoped we wouldn't, but we
And
knew there was
would
a
not.
possibility.
And we would have been pretty good except for the MFP. That
And
was
you
a
find the
400
MFP out in October.
Yep. Well,
You know what
February,
your numbers are.
February, March.
But in October, they give you an amount that you're waiting to get.
And
in
it adjusts
February.
it.
Yeah, it adjusts in
yeah.
February.
So you go with your budget for October.
So
Right.
our board approved the budget of $300,000 over,
Yes, sir.
and we go over 495,000.
Right.
And we did this last year.
I'd have to look back.
We did.
Okay.
And we did it the year before. And we did it the year before. So we're going, since I've been on this board, 4 consecutive years, this board has approved the budget.
No. The entire board didn't approve it, but
Okay. The majority of the board approved the budget. Whether all of us voted for it or not, there was enough to approve the budget. And we've went over that budget for 4 straight years. But I've been on the board. I don't know what happened before I got on the board. So my question is, I ain't as smart as y'all, but we keep missing some things. We missing $495,000 worth of mistakes, and last year it was more. And the year before that, I don't remember the exact number, but it was up there. We've had 4 consecutive years where our budget has went over, and we can MFP, taxes down, whatever it is, but we're crunching into that magic number that's sitting over here that we got on the reserves.
Mhm.
So,
I think you're wrong on last year, because last year, that's that last column.
okay, what was it?
The bottom line number is $189,000 decrease. I know we did not adopt a budget that was that low,
Right.
so I'm sure we came down on that.
We had extra money from the buses one year, and then didn't we do the,
I mean, there's so many, I have to go back, I'm focused on where we
Because
are.
we-
I don't-
because
Where we are now,
moved-
get it.
I mean, I do look back, but, I don't recall the
you know, I
numbers.
think we had extra money in there.
I'm pretty sure we were over the last 4 years,
Okay.
pretty sure. I don't know what that number will be. It's 495 this year. And we did approve not buying buses, but sooner or later, that's gonna come back and bite us in the tail.
It would.
Because we gotta buy buses sooner or later if we're gonna get kids to school.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I was thinking the right way.
Yeah.
We approved the budget and we've spent over that budget for this many years ago.
We did not spend over.
Well, how do you-
Only
how you
about
wanna word it?
$55,000. Budget, revenue shortfalls, like I said, 331,000 of that was that $250.
If I was sitting in your shoes, I would like your number 55,000 too. That sounds good. But sitting in my shoes, explaining this to the public sees $495,000. They see that the board approved 300, but yet we $795. I like your number. If I'm sitting in your shoes, I'm using 55,000. But the point is, we 495,000 over what we thought we was, or deficit what we thought we needed to be.
Yep. I mean, we truly have a revenue problem.
Oh, I know. I can see it.
We do not have the
And
spending.
we're gonna have that revenue problem next year, and the next year, and the next year, and the next year, until we get a hold of it as a board and as people that control the money, then, we gotta figure that out. And we're getting slapped like today with what the governor's doing, but it's, you can't keep taking the
Yeah,
negative, I know
The original
that.
budget is a realistic number with the information we have at the time.
Right, I get that.
I mean, the numbers change as we get more information. And the big one was March. I mean, at that point, the MFP number was finally known. The state is weird on how they do that, but it'd be a whole lot better if we just knew a true number for the year. Instead of changing mid-year and, I mean, we kind of look bad.
Our teachers face that every day in the classroom. They constantly changing the parameters of what they gotta do. Every year is something different. And they thought they had it figured out and make sure it's something different. And our test scores are falling because of it and all that. It's the state, I understand that, but
Yes, sir.
I want to keep the Caldwell Parish school system open.
Yep, me too.
So David, let me ask you this question. If we start out with hypothetically $1 million, and we write $1 million worth of grants. That should be okay.
Sure, okay.
But you come up negative. How? Just a scenario. I mean, how could that happen?
What?
If we start out with $1 million, but,
Okay, you're saying, well,
Yeah.
I mean, how about 300?
Yeah. and you write $300 million, you write $300,000 worth of grants.
Well, we write the grants before.
Right, I guess what I'm saying is, if we're writing a grant, then that means that amount of money should be in the general fund, right?
No. It's on the fund. At best, if we can, move general fund expenses over to the grant. If the grant agrees with that.
Then you have to pay.
So,
You say if you move the money from the general fund over to the grant,
right.
and you don't get the grant, what happens? That means that money's spent, right?
We already know that. In June, July, and August, we were preparing the budget.
Right.
So, I mean, the grants are actually pretty easy.
But I guess what I'm saying is, at some point, whether it's on retirement, whatever, the general fund is affected at some point, right?
General fund is.
At some point.
Is on the hook,
Right.
bottom line,
Okay.
at all points.
And the reason why I'm asking these questions, because I ask people to respond, and I think we owe it to them to answer and ask those questions. So it's nothing to hide, it's no reason, nobody put their head down and, whatever. We need to answer these questions, because we got a millage coming. And at some point, they need to have the answer to those questions.
Right. And I don't mind a phone call, or sitting down with anybody out in public, or,
Right.
I mean, we'll be, I mean, it's open records.
Let me get this right, so our reasoning is the MFP money and our taxes are down, and there was 3 reasons you got, and I forgot the
Student accounts.
two. Which is MFP, right?
MFP was the.
Okay, it's 2 different,
330,
yeah,
yeah,
so
it's two
the
parts.
amount of money that they give for MFP and the student.
Right.
Okay.
So that was general fund. The second page is the sales tax fund, and I'm basically adjusting for the extra money that we brought in, and I'm adjusting for the amount of extra money we're paying out on the 13th check that went out a few days ago, last week. So, I mean, sales tax is easy, it's whatever we get in, is what we're gonna budget, and that's how much we can pay out. Roughly. So, those are the, budget adjustments that I'm looking at, that the sheriff's approval. Sales tax is the only one that really has to be, approved, because it is outside the 5% limit. The general fund is not outside the 5% limit, which is great. It's just, again, I want to prepare the board for a big number. So, if you don't approve the board, if y'all don't wanna approve the general fund, that's fine. We'll be fine with the budget, with the auditors and being within the 5%. So, it does not matter to me on that. I'm not complicated about it, I apologize.
I just wanna clarify that when y'all approved a deficit budget of a negative $300,000, that's based on his best estimate of how much we think we're gonna bring in and how much we think we're gonna spend. We spent about what we thought we were gonna spend, so we didn't overspend. Our revenue was decreased because we lost students and they cut the MFP. We were not expecting them to cut the MFP by $331,000. That's a big chunk of money. So that was not anybody's fault. They cut that, and we weren't expecting it. The other was the decrease in the property taxes that we did not know was going to happen when we prepared the budget. So it's a revenue problem. There was no overspending in that budget. Does that make sense?
It does,
Okay. I just wanna make sure we're clear on that.
but the bottom line is we're $495,000.
Absolutely. We have a revenue problem.
And it's just gonna get worse.
It is just gonna get worse.
Our only saving grace would be for somebody else to be worse off than we are, and for them to have to raise the right flag and say, we're done.
Well, surely there is.
Sir?
Surely there's somebody worse.
I'm sure. I mean, and like I said, just comparing us with Washita's 2 months. We're 5 or 6, so.
You're right, though, it's gonna take the right person to stand up and say, we can't do it anymore, and then they'll all of a sudden start listening. It's gonna take that right person to stand up and complain. I don't know who it would be, but somebody out there will and complain, and then they'll listen maybe.
Well, David sent a pretty
Yeah.
feisty email.
I don't know, they hadn't listened for the past 20 years, I don't know if they'll make them start listening this year.
Maybe South Louisiana will start having problems with their money, maybe they'll listen.
That would be the best case scenario.
Here's my thing, I don't see any of this going away. I mean, the MFP money, that's always gonna be a question mark. Our taxes, you know, our decrease in property taxes are only, I mean, and how do you fix students' needs?
Right,
I mean, you
It's
might
all
get
back.
some of them back,
yeah.
but you can't get them all back. So, I mean, for every reason that you're given here, that needs to be taken into consideration next year. I think we're probably gonna continue to have taxes go down, and MFP's probably gonna stay the same or go down, and the student count may go down. So we got, when we do this again, we gotta,
And
If
that's
you
why
look
you
at-
have to have difficult conversations like we're about
Right.
to have. I mean, that's why we have difficult conversations about cutting personnel and, you know, cutting positions and combining classrooms and all the things. I mean, it's just not fun times.
If you look at my past 5 audit reports that I put out, the last note I have in there is on uncertainties. And I put in there, it's not sustainable. And I mean, there's no other word to put there. I mean, we cannot, no entity can continue living the way that we are living.
So then, what is it that, I guess we're not doing? Because when I talk to other superintendents, they can give I guess, a little bit more definitive. So I don't know if the variables are different, if the climate is different, and not trying to compare one or the other, but obviously there's something that has to be done, there's something that can be done. There may be things that we don't want to do, but at the end of the day, we know that these numbers say that they got to be done at some point.
I'm concerned that people don't know. Because whenever Nikki and I were on that phone call, we asked about how many other school boards are calling about this, and they said 2, maybe 4. I think good golly, we're not the only ones around. I think we're the only ones that know that we're dry, which is kind of scary.
We're the only one that know that we've been dry.
Yeah, I mean, 5 years, 21, I started putting that note. So,
I don't think people understand there's a formula for payroll either, for like the teachers with their degrees and stuff like that, because I saw different posts today, and they're like, they just make this much money, they need to cut back. But there's a formula that follows through for each teacher and each person that gets paid. And I don't think people realize that. I think they just think somebody's handing them money, saying, here's your money, when it's actually a formula that decides who gets what. And I don't think people realize that.
and it varies by parish.
And it varies, yeah, and it varies.
And benefits are included in it.
Yeah.
Well, right now, what we're looking at either improving this budget as it stands, 495, right?
Additional.
Additional,
Right.
coming out of the money that we have in reserve to cover that. And then we still got a lot of work to do between now and next year's budget, which is just a few months away, to adjust it and make sure that we're sitting on zero there, close to zero or zero or better there. That's really where we're sitting right now. We either approve this 495 or we don't. And then work on the next year's budget to be sitting at zero. In a nutshell.
what happens?
That's
what
our
happens
two
if we-
options.
What happens if we don't?
We keep on spending cash reserves.
I can say there's a lot of work to do the next couple of months. A lot of work. You started, got a good start, a good jump. It's, still a lot to do. Is there, y'all wanna go ahead and, somebody wanna give a motion to go ahead and vote on this or no?
I'll make a motion to vote on.
On which one? The sales tax or the general fund?
You did it separately.
Yeah.
So I changed my motion because I don't know what I'll take a
Sales
motion.
tax must be, is what you said.
Sales tax really has to be, in order to stay in
Well,
budget.
I make a
compliance.
motion, we approve the sales tax.
I'll second that.
The other is within the 5%, so it doesn't
It
have to
is.
have.
Now, what are we doing with the sales tax?
Since we brought in more money than what was budgeted, and therefore we've also paid it out, we're beyond the 5% limit.
It was a 17% change.
Yeah, the 17% change. You know, we budgeted $2,850,000, we brought in $3,326,000.
So how much of that money do we have?
We'll pay it out.
Pay it out.
I thought we said we
I thought it was
just
holding
use,
over.
I thought we was use the sales tax money to pay for the excess of sales tax. So what are we voting on?
We
The
just,
budget.
that we approved the fact that we brought in 17% more. It's within, it's over that 5%. So we're gonna approve that we paid out the excess. Everything's been paid out
With the sales tax.
with the sales tax.
So we're gonna take what's left over in sales tax and pay on this $490,000.
There's
No,
nothing
no.
left over.
So what are we doing with it?
This is, we're
We
just
pa- we
saying
paid it
that.
out.
budget.
We paid it out to the
Teachers.
To the
Oh, so we've already paid it out.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's zeroed
Well,
out.
that's easy.
It's
Okay,
zeroed out.
good. So we're not taking it and paying something else?
No, no.
David,
Okay.
I thought we was holding over some of the.
We're gonna have some left over.
Yeah, I thought we,
It's not.
was it May or June, May, that you were holding over to put it?
No. We ended the year last year with $286,000. I'm estimating around $286,000 at the end of this year. If what we're bringing in, I'm saying we're gonna pay out, which has largely been paid out, May 28th.
No, what I'm talking about is, I think last month, on the sales tax money, I thought, like, you wasn't paying it all out, you was holding over a little reserve and putting it in for the next fiscal year.
We're just maintaining the $286,000 fund balance at the beginning of the year.
So we keeping that?
Well, I mean, it's reserved for teacher pay raise,
It
teachers.
stays in the sales tax account.
Right,
Okay, I got
It
it.
just sits there.
right. People be.
So we're really approving something that we've already done?
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion, we accept it.
And y'all, and the board approved.
Yes, sir, I
doing that.
understand.
Okay.
I thought we was gonna take that $286,000 and apply it toward the board, and okay, I got you.
Okay, go.
I have a motion and second. If you wanna do a roll call, and then we can move forward, okay? All right, Mr. Barton?
Yeah.
Ms. Ballard?
Yes.
Mr. Glass?
I'm gonna abstain because I still don't understand what we're doing.
Ms. Bass? Yes. Ms. Ballard?
Yes.
Mr. Tassel?
Yes.
Mr. Rent?
Yes.
Some days I don't either.
David, you know, I ain't never voting for something that I don't know what I'm voting on.
On this one, aren't we still looking at changing money from federal on some of the payroll?
If possible.
So we can hold off on this one till we find out if we can do it for this
Well,
year?
this is last month,
It's the last one.
so I'm not
That doesn't
heartbroken
mean
if we
we're
don't.
not.
Okay. Okay.
But I did want the board to know where we are. So I didn't want that to be a gigantic surprise. It won't
I
be
just
happening.
know we've had the discussion that we can change some of the different things.
Yes.
And I knew you were looking at maybe doing it for this year, but I know next year you definitely want to do it.
Right.
We've submitted our revisions back to the state. We have to get approval.
Yeah, and that's what we're waiting for.
Those that
So I
have.
wasn't
to go.
totally lost.
We just, they haven't been approved yet. So
Okay.
we don't wanna say yes until we know.
For sure.
Those who have to go will make the rules.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, now, to make it clear, with the next vote, either yea or nay, on the, budget amendments, we're voting to transfer, to cover the $495,000.
No, we're done.
We're done with item.
Oh, we're done with that?
We're done with that.
5% correctional for sales.
Oh, we're voting on the sale?
And then,
All right. So, we're moving on to, item G. Consideration of the closure of Kelly Early Childhood Center and relocation of students to the Caldwell Parish Pre-K Center. You have any discussion on that?
So I'll just, explain how we got to this conversation for everyone. Number one, start with, we are not closing our Head Start program. We did not lose our grant. We have it. This conversation has nothing to do with the building at Kelly or the program at Kelly or anything that's going on at Kelly. It is a budget concern. And so when we started talking about budget and money and looking at numbers and enrollment, we have two programs, our pre-K program on the high school campus and our 3-year-old program, which operates at Kelly, are both operating with about 67 kids at each site. And both of those buildings can hold way more kids than 67. And so when you start looking at ways outside the box to save money, we started looking at moving those to one place. And the first place we started looking at moving them to was bringing the kids from the 3-year-olds from Kelly to the pre-K campus. We can house about 150 to 175 students in that pre-K building. All the kids would be in the main building. The Duckett Street building has been moved there, but it's for office space and meeting rooms and therapy rooms or, special education rooms. But you can put all the 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds in that one building. We also looked at what it would look like, because Kelly is a nice facility and has a gym and has a nice playground, what it would cost if we moved our 4-year-olds out to that facility at Kelly, but it does not save us quite as much money. As a matter of fact, when we start looking at numbers, and that's really what we're here to look at, because obviously we just talked about the budget and how many years we've adopted a negative budget. If we moved our 3-year-olds to the pre-K campus on the high school campus, it could save us $194,000. If we moved our 4-year-olds to the Kelly facility, it would save us $16,000, and so those are very different numbers.
Nikki, give me some abstract, give me the differences on the savings. What is being saved versus what's not being saved?
In your
Well, just
folder? Okay, yeah. So one of the biggest things is we can grade salaries. And so when you have your Head Start dollars, and a lot of our pre-K programs are funded through grants too. Monica, you may have to jump in with me. LA4, 8G, Title I. We have grants that are funding those, and general fund also pays for those positions. But when you are able to grade funds, then you could take the Head Start facilitator, so basically the acting principal, you can grade those two salaries and pay half of it out of Head Start and half of it out of the other grants. And so you're taking that expense off a general fund. Your custodian could now be graded with Head Start, so you take half of that salary off a general fund. The secretary, take half of that salary off a general fund. So those are very big expenses that could be. If it's located at the same place as Monica, as a director is, we can take her salary, half of it, and pay for it out of, because if she's located at the same site, correct me if I'm wrong.
So if it stays there, you can't take that salary, right?
Right, because she has to be at the same location as the program is.
So, and we've had the Head Start how long?
11 years.
And we just now finding this out,
About.
the salary being
Well,
used.
we've never had the pre-K at this low enrollment that we had the capacity in that building to have this conversation. of trying to. So we hadn't, you know, we had enough kids in the pre-K to fill the building. The only reason we even have this conversation now is because we have only half of a building being used by 4-year-olds, and there is space in that building to have all the 3-year-olds there. So we started digging, and when y'all asked me to start digging for ways to start saving money, we started digging, and I started asking questions and looking at numbers and saying, I mean, I did this with her, I did this with Miss Wiley, I did this with Rebecca, I did this with every grant, and I said, what can you pay, what can you pay, what can you pay to pull this out of general fund? And so we started asking questions about that. So those salaries are pretty big. When you start taking off mileage for our speech therapists and OTs and PTs and pupil appraisal staff to drive from here to Kelly, that's another, you know, chunk of money. The bus, we would be able to take off that money for the bus to drive out to Kelly. Miss Sandra and I worked with her cafeteria staff. We would be able to cut one position there. Ultimately, by combining, it could possibly be 2 positions when you start stacking around within the entire district. We would be able to save on the energy bill, the water bill. Edgear, is that the right company? Yes.
No,
Edgear, J-Campus?
J-Campus.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would be another savings. That's our student information system. The trash collection would be another savings, and so those are all the savings there. When you add all that up, it ends up being $194,000. So that's the chart that I have there for you.
I like the, question Mr. Glass had about why we hadn't done it before, and the great answer of, we hadn't been able to do it before because of our numbers. My question would be, what happens, Monica, if we get those numbers back up?
If we had to, like that building we moved, we don't intend to use it, for anything. Natalie and I talked today, there's one more room in the pre-K we could utilize.
So if we get 195 with 3-year-olds in pre-K, we could find a way to house that.
Yeah, I
So
think
we're not
we
gonna
could
be trying to look and go back to Kelly.
I don't think we would look at going back to Kelly unless the pre-K.
Less than 15 years removed,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and which hopefully we could be, and maybe we could build a building with that, but right
Do you have
now,
it set up about how you're gonna put the kids in?
I do, I have the rooms, where the 3-year-olds would be and the 4-year-olds would be. And then we also have an extra, which it's our, we call it our, I guess, work room slash, you know, like where like the Coke machine stuff, which is supplies, which we can move everything out there if I needed that room. Then I can use that also for an extra room. Right now, we don't even have to use that. So, right now, we have 9 classrooms, 9 teachers, and that's,
So what's our number out there now? Our number of
At
kids?
Kelly,
Yes, ma'am.
right now there's 47 signed up for next year. We
Okay,
ended the year
what
with
is it at the high school?
78
So
right
we're looking at
now.
115, 120 kids, or so to speak. How many of those kids ride the bus?
The 3-year-olds?
Yeah.
It's usually about 40.
It's about 50, 52.
40 to 50, so how many are bringing parents? How many do you think?
this
I
year,
mean,
at
Yeah,
our
I'm
drop-offs, probably, I would say, maybe 15, 20 maybe max, probably 20. Like, we don't have a lot. We have more in the mornings than we do in the afternoons.
In your first week you have a
Yeah, the
lot
first
more
week you have a whole
drop-offs.
lot,
Yes.
because they wanna drop a kid off the first day of school.
Where's James? See you.
Coach Wells.
Coach Wells, what does that do to congestion? What does that do to congestion with the numbers, with that many more kids coming and that many more parents coming, and that meaning that the bus would now go to, how does that affect us as far as with Kelly being moved to the school? Is it gonna be a huge problem, a light problem, or?
I don't think it would be a problem at all. I mean, the Head Start bus is going to its pickup points anyway, so instead of just going to Kelly, it's just gonna be coming up to the high school, dropping them off there at the pre-K. So it would get, either in the normal line with the other buses when they drop off in the morning, or I'm not sure what they've kind of thought out as far as their drop off and as far as in the back.
Monica, of those 47 kids, how many of them would you say live in the Kelly community? Not many. So we got them coming from everywhere anyway.
Right.
Okay.
Something I do wanna call your attention to on the back of the packet there, I'm a numbers person, I like to see data, and, so I asked Monica to put together the enrollment data. So if you look here, we went back to from the time that the pre-K started, and I color coded it too. So like what was the high school enrollment, what was the junior high enrollment, and the pre-K 4 enrollment. Just so I could get, because that was a concern, is how many people are gonna be on campus, how much traffic are we gonna have on campus, and can we accommodate the number of vehicles that are gonna be on campus there. And so, if your color copies look as good as, this doesn't look as good as it did in regular. But the green is when we were over 900 total on the campus. So we had some very high years back in 14, 15, then again in 16, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19, and 19, 20. And then we dropped down to yellow when we were in the 800s. For the past 2 years, we've been in the red, so we've been 700 people on campus. If we were to bring the 3-year-olds, that 447 that we had this past year, we would still be at 807, so we would still be at the bottom of the 800s. So still nowhere near where we have been in those high green years, as far as the number of students on campus. So I did want to, just for us to know, can we handle that amount of traffic on campus?
So you have a 4-year-old, and you take them to the bus where the 3-year-olds are going, because you don't want them on the bus with the big kids. Can they still ride that bus?
The 3-year-olds.
Only 3-year-olds?
3-year-olds have
Nobody
to
else?
ride their Head Start bus. That's a great question.
Well, I mean, if you've got a 4-year-old that ride the bus last year, it just made sense that they could ride the bus with the seat belts to go meet, not to go to their house.
I mean, if there was
Like they're
space,
doing
they
now.
could, but we wouldn't knock a 3-year-old out of a seat just to accommodate a brother's. I mean, you're gonna have, the 3-year-olds have to ride that bus.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about, I understand that, but I'm talking about like just a 4-year-old. I'm not talking about anybody older than that, just because they're going to the same school anyway, is what you're wanting them to do.
Right.
So why couldn't they just ride the bus too?
If there was space, there would be nothing wrong with that, as long as we had enough seats for our 3-year-olds, because they can't ride the parish buses.
Yeah, I understand that.
That's a good question.
So Monica, I asked for this to be tabled, but it's back. Because I remember Head Start, and I'm almost certain most people in it didn't send their kid to Head Start when it was at Duckett Street, when it was at Union Central. And that was the wrong area for it to be in. So now we're down in Kelly. If we didn't have the pre-K, what would Head Start, what would we say? If we didn't have Head Start, period.
So like, how has it benefited the 4-year-old program?
Yeah, no, if we didn't have
The 3-year-old.
the 3-year program, what would we save as far as the budget?
I don't know.
And the reason why I'm asking that, because I think the board asked for more than just one option. And so what I'm trying, and I asked to go in executive session because we couldn't, because I would have preferred to discuss this, among the board. So I guess I gotta, do it out in open. So what would we have saved? Would it have been more than $290,000?
So we totally let go of the Head Start program.
I'm just asking, that's hypothetical. Because,
I mean, I
because
don't
of
know
this.
that you'd have, because of the teachers there, they're all 100% paid with Head Start.
Mhm.
Every
So
employee.
you wouldn't lose
I don't
anything.
know that you would save what you're paying their building,
Mhm.
but personnel wise, you're not gonna save anything because they're all paid out of Head Start anyway.
And how much do we earn in indirect costs? $50,000 is what we earn in indirect costs for the entire year.
Because you remember how we obtained Head Start when Mr. Lett was here.
We earn $50,000 in indirect costs per year. That's it.
You remember how we obtained Head Start when
Oh,
Mr.
yeah.
Lett, because they were gonna get rid of it.
Right.
But we agreed to accept it with
Mhm.
conditions.
Right.
And I've always thought that those conditions were working, and then, March, April, May, because I don't like stuff being thrown without having the opportunity to consider, all of the above, because this is the decision that, you're talking about a community and all this other stuff, which I don't get into that. But, so we wouldn't save anything close.
I mean, other than what you would say closing the building.
Okay.
And the teacher's salaries.
Well,
The
the
teacher's
teachers
salary
are
is
paid out of
completely
Head
paid out of
Start.
Head Start.
They're paid out of Head Start, but you're talking about
But you would spend more on
people that are
4-year-olds,
unemployed.
because you're trying to use some of the 3-year-old money to combine with the 4-year-olds, so you
Yes.
lose that money.
You would lose, and we do use Head Start money with our 4-year-old program.
We do, because Head Start serves 3 to 5-year-olds. I mean, it's not just a 3-year-old program. There's a classroom at the pre-K right now that's funded with Head Start dollars. It all gets into what the kids qualify, you know, our kids aren't like MFP kids, and so, you know, we have had years at Kelly when we're at our max, and a child comes in maybe through child find late in the year, and we get a call that says, hey, we've got a child we need to enroll, we say, we're full. You know, and how can you be full? You're a school. Our 2 programs aren't like the elementary schools. If Delinda's got 602 kindergartners and 3 more walk in, and she doesn't know where she's gonna put them, she's gotta take them. We don't. We're funded for X amount of kids, and we can't go over that unless the general fund picks up and wants to open another classroom.
You're also funded for so many kids per teacher, because there's more rooms in the building that could be used, but you have to have the number of kids to go with the teacher, right?
I mean, class size, yeah. Yeah, but we're not funded, we're funded per child, not, it has nothing to do with the teacher.
Pretty
You're
much the
funded
most
for-
money we're saving is not gas going to and from, not electrical, but most of the money we're
It's
saving is
salary.
teacher salaries.
Yeah, it's being able to
Because we're
grade
being able
those
to use
funds.
half and half.
That's where the bulk is. If you look at that chart right
With that
there,
being said, what we gonna do with the building if we close?
so, I mean, right now, it would just be storage, but then I would like to have conversations about using it as a CTE. I would like to, I mean, like, long-term, I would love to have conversations with Delta about opening it up as a CTE, career, Zotech, because we don't have anything in this area. But I mean, like, I have not had those conversations. I have to have one conversation at a time.
So, do
But
we,
it is a nice facility, and I don't want to see it unused. So there are opportunities, I think, I mean, that we could use it for.
so, the other day I couldn't help but think about those 7 or 8 days where we've gotten 782 inches of rain. I'm sure at Kelly, we sit those babies in the gym and let them do their things, and what are we gonna do now? Do they have a place to?
What do the 4-year-olds do now?
So right now, I mean, I've never had a gym at 4, I mean, 3s and 4s are not, I mean, play is play, 4 and 3. So a lot of times when it's raining, we'll either do activities in the hall, we'll have like races, I mean, like, you know, we'll have races in the hall, or sometimes we've talked about, if we do combine, calling the community center and being like, hey, you know, and getting with them and say, hey, we know we're gonna have a rainy week this week, is there any way we can come use your facility and, you know, have a field trip to the community center and let the babies play, we know it's gonna be a
Just
long
please,
rainy
if we
week.
vote this in, just please have a family.
Well, yeah, we do, and that's like
I'm
something we've talked about, like with the, using the community center, using places that would
I
be
was that
willing.
kid that had to go outside.
I'm a very advocate for outside play, like that's
has
what
begged us
I'm.
to come over there.
So Monica, if you were sitting here, all of these questions that we're asking, would you have wanted that information beforehand, before you voted on it?
I mean, it would be nice, Darren, but I mean, we've been talking about it now for several months, and I mean,
No, it hasn't been several months, Monica, we just started in May, in the latter part of April.
I don't know, I thought we started.
Because we visited the school
You
in,
might have.
in
We didn't.
April.
Yeah.
Yeah, the conversation wasn't with us. So I'm just asking for fairness, because remember, the board has to make this decision.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
that's our only job. So, not because everybody get in their feelings and, you know, get upset because you're being asked a question. So I'm asking this question because I'm entitled to ask it. It's no other way that this can, the newest school in the parish is gonna be closed. The newest school.
Pre-K centers, we were the Kelly.
Well, but I'm talking about the school building. That can accommodate all of those students where you at now, right?
The pre-K?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was built in 2009.
You know what I'm saying? Kelly can accommodate all those kids.
It could,
Did we ever look at that scenario?
we have.
And what was the reason for not?
It would save us $16,000.
Right, Nikki, but if we're talking about saving, there's been multiple years that we could have saved, but that wasn't on the horizon. So what I'm getting
There's
at.
two things that really worry me about doing that.
Okay.
One is transportation, because yes, they can all get off the bus there at your pre-K center. You're gonna have to have staff there to get those kids off the bus, and then you're gonna have to load them all on a bus. So you're gonna have to have very, you know, counting getting off, counting getting on. if one kid ever got miscounted, whatever, and got left, or if you still allowed your parents to drop off there, we see it every day. The secretary of the pre-K could tell you, kids walk through that front door with a backpack, and then, oh my gosh, there they are. There's no sign of an adult outside. Are they supposed to do that? No. We've called parents in, we've had to talk with Donnie before to go out and talk to parents about it. They'll drop them off out back with no one out there. They'll drop them off in the front. If a child ever got dropped off there with no one on campus, that would be one of the scariest things I can even imagine. Especially if it was one of our special needs kids that was nonverbal or couldn't get around to somewhere else.
But thus
The
far, that hadn't
second
happened,
thing,
right?
no.
Okay.
That would be the same scenario on campus in Columbia. The worst thing could happen is
Right.
somebody got in the wrong car or got on the
Right.
wrong bus and all that with a
But the second thing would be instructional time. Because while I wholeheartedly value our 3-year-old program, what they're doing is helping those kids be prepared and get ready and being identified early and get the services they need. But these 4-year-olds are getting ready to go to kindergarten. And if we load them on buses and have to take them down there and then do it again in the afternoon, they're losing over an hour a day instructional time. Because they still have to have breakfast, lunch, recess, the nap, the things that are mandated in their calendar. So you're cutting into the instructional time, and there's some of the pre-K teachers here that can tell you right now, they don't have a minute in their day to get to lose an hour. So I mean, that's two of my biggest concerns right off the bat. There's nothing wrong with Kelly. It is a great building. The gym, the playground, it's wonderful. But the thought of, we can't run all the buses down there, that would be astronomical in the fuel cost.
Mike,
And
you
the
sound
thought
like
of
you're
that-
defending not going to restructure. That's what you sound like. We've had all these concerns of not driving from Hebert to Kelly. And we've had all those concerns before, and that argument is the same argument that I used when we started talking about restructuring. Like, we don't want to go from here all the way to here, and the danger of it, and how far it is, and what it was taking away in instructional time and all. That sounds I mean, it's a great argument. It sounds exactly like what we were talking about 3 years ago when we did restructuring.
I think the danger part you're talking about though is them getting off, because they're gonna have to ride the big, they're gonna have to ride the regular bus, so they'll have to get off the pre-K and then get back on another bus to get to Kelly. I don't think the danger part is like the traveling piece of it. If that's,
Monica, nothing against you.
Oh,
Again,
certainly
but I
not,
think this is I think it's more of a personal want than a need to get with this budget. I'm looking at the needs. I know you feel strongly about it.
I mean, we've been adopting a negative budget for this fall, and that's a quick way
And
to
we're gonna-
save almost $200,000.
But the budget's still gonna be negative.
Yeah, but that's $200,000, and that's a lot of money.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And I also think that in previous years, when suggestions have been made to make other cuts, see, we can't cut when we just want to cut.
Oh, I
We have to
agree.
cut when we need to cut. And I think,
agree.
that's where we're at now, which is, we gotta do it again. If I was in your position, I would be doing the same. I just, for the life of it,
Are the
You know-
buildings completed? The ones they moved in? Have they
They're
been
not.
finished?
We're not using those for the kids.
But you're
The ones
gonna
we just
move into
moved?
it.
the ones we just
The
moved from.
offices will be.
Yeah, but are they ready?
They're doing the trim work and all right now. They will be before school starts, yes. Yeah.
So we've already started work on something we hadn't approved.
No, that building that got moved, that's whether you vote, whether we stay at the pre-K and they stay at Kelly, that building had nothing to do with it.
I like to add, just while we're talking, and I've said this before, I've never liked the idea of our littlest children going all the way out to Kelly. Say what you want, say the argument's been made before, that's fine, but it's the same argument, but it's a good argument. Is that we've got 3-year-olds sitting out there that, if there was an emergency, that I personally, and I've said this at the last meeting, and the meeting before that, if I had a 3-year-old, I wouldn't send them out there. There's no way you would have me, that I would send my 3-year-old all the way out to Kelly. Just wouldn't go there. And I'm sure there are other people in this parish that feel the same way. I'm not the only one that feels that way. I know. I'm not. No,
Where
for
do
a
you
fact.
live, where do
I
you
know
live,
for-
Randy?
I live up on the other side of the overpass, up toward 7 miles north of here.
That's a
165.
good trip for you, Randy.
So there's no way, and there's no way, and there's a lot of people, I'm sure, at Hebert, out Duty Ferry, all that way, that is a long way to go, all the way to Kelly. It's a long way to go from here, much less out in the outskirts of our parish. And
live there.
the worst mistake we ever made is,
I'm
as
just
a
saying.
parish, the worst mistake we ever made as a parish, going to go back and start talking about back things, is rebuilding Kelly when it burned. It shouldn't have never been rebuilt.
That's water under the bridge.
That's water under the bridge, that's right, but that's part of it. Personally, I just can't see anything wrong, but I can't see a downside to moving these children to the pre-K where it's at right now. I don't see a downside to that. I just can't find a downside to it.
And we live in a different time now, where we're in a world of convenience where we now all come to town, and we all come to town. And so, the high school campus is a convenient location, and so, you know, we run to the grocery store, we run to town, we run to the bank, and so it is a centrally located place right there on the campus, with our pre-K and our junior high and our high school, and all the other schools are within a few miles of each other, and so it is a more centrally located area there. We wouldn't be having this conversation if we weren't looking for ways to save money. That's what brought this up.
And that's
was
another
just
thing.
looking for ways to save money.
We've been,
But 3 years ago, why didn't we talk about it then, when we first started going negative?
We've been negative 6 years.
Yeah.
Did we not have,
Our enrollment wasn't down enough to even be thinking about that.
Oh,
If-
Nikki,
before
according to
our-
the numbers, it was.
At the pre-K, our enrollment was not down that much. I mean, if we wanna go back and look at our pre-K numbers,
Let's look at the whole number.
but the pre-K numbers is what brought the whole pre-K and pre-K 4 programs down. I mean, we had 90, we were like,
I mean, there's nothing we can do about it now, but it would have been nice to have looked at it to see if maybe that's what we could have done then.
I just, every
help
year
on
I'm
that.
challenged again to look deeper and deeper and deeper, and every year it's like, find something else, Nikki, find something else, and we are.
Yeah.
We're just looking and looking and looking, and this year, this is what came up, was looking at, okay, we had, you know, in 2021, we had 102 4-year-olds, then we were 96, then 94, and then 85, and then we dropped down to 71. I mean, those numbers just kept going lower and lower, and we moved that teacher, and that was kind of my aha moment, was when we cut a teacher at the pre-K and moved her to Grayson. Was like, oh my goodness, we cut another slot, and we started looking at staffing, and we're cutting positions at every school. I mean, this year we've got it down to about $577,000 worth of positions that we're cutting for the next school year. That's a lot of money that we're cutting. And that's after, what did we cut last year? Over $300,000. I mean, that's a lot of money that we are continuing to cut. These are not fun times, and I'm telling you, my superintendent group is going off all the time. Every one of my cohorts are looking at closing down schools. You know, and it's, I mean, none of us love our jobs right now. I mean, it's tough. These are not fun conversations. I've been sick all day about this.
I mentioned this in the finance meeting the other day, and I really believe this, it would be irresponsible for us to keep Kelly open when if things continue on the path that they're continuing in this parish, that we're looking at losing more than just pre-K. We're looking at losing an elementary school and consolidating to a K-2 school and a 3, 4, 5 school possibly. It would be irresponsible for us to keep that school open when we're looking at the possibility of possibly closing down an elementary school if things continue the way they're continuing.
We may
And
be
if we,
doing that
and
in
if
2
we
years.
close, if we vote close or move the pre-K, would that keep us from consolidating the elementaries?
We may be having that conversation
Not
in
down
2
the road.
years. If the trajectory does not change, we may be having that conversation.
Well, we've already-
Regardless if we move the 3-year-olds to the high school campus or not.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, we are squeezing blood out of terms.
Yeah, because we've already asked about moving the little ones to Grayson to see if we can kind of shift. the way
And we may be
do.
doing that next year or the next. I mean, we don't know what to predict.
I'm not trying to shut anybody off, anybody has anything, but we do have somebody that does want to speak on this
On
issue.
this,
Yeah, so you could go ahead and call Kristen Stevens.
So I am a Head Start teacher, and I know y'all haven't been able to hear from anybody from the Head Start to pre-K, but I'll talk to other people, so I apologize if I turn red. Okay, so my name is Kristen. I teach at the 3-year-old Head Start program. I've been there 6 years. I know this topic has brought a lot of emotions and concerns and questions. I've been seeing so much in the public, people stopping me. I have been asking questions. I have talked to some of you as well. But I wanted to speak tonight because I was able to go home out of the classroom at the beginning of the summer and really think about this as a teacher and as thinking about what's best for our kids. But I really support the Head Start being with the Head Start being with the pre-K. I think it's important that Head Start is, that we remember, because it's been all over Facebook, that we're closing and no longer going to be run. That our children will still receive Head Start services. We're just simply bringing our youngest learners together in one location. Much like our district has successfully done with other grade levels over the years. As someone who has worked with these children every day, I see many positives. Our program has struggled with staff and shortages. Combining the program will allow more support, more collaboration among teachers, and more opportunities to meet the individual needs of our students. It will strengthen communication between pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 and help create a smoother transition for our children as they grow. One of the biggest concerns is safety. Our school is approximately 20 minutes. If you think about it, I live this way. 20 minutes, and we had experienced one major emergency, and it took Emlet 45 minutes to get to our kids. Because they were arguing over should they go to Hartner's or should they go to Citizens.
Well, that's not our problem.
It's not, but it would have been if something happened to the baby.
But they come from Winfield and other places too.
That is true.
We've called for my dad before, and it took them 30.
But I do feel like that's a major concern for our students and staff, because every minute matters when it comes to the safety of our young children. Being closer to emergency responders, medical services, district personnel, and resources will provide greater peace of mind for both staff and families. We also currently do not have a bus readily available on campus should there be an emergency evacuation ever become necessary, because our buses happen to park at the pre-K because we don't have 2 employees to run the bus. By licensing, you have to have 2 on the Head Start bus. As educators, we're responsible for planning ahead. We conduct drills and prepare for emergencies and think about the what ifs, because our children's safety depends on it. I have also heard concerns about the move. I understand about these concerns, but I believe there are many benefits that come with bringing our early childhood programs together. At the end of the day, I don't look at the decision of as our building being closed. I look at it as the opportunity to strengthen early childhood education, improve support for our students and staff, and provide a safer, more resourceful environment for our children. I love my students and I want what's best for them. Based on my experience in the classroom, I believe this move will benefit the children we serve. We are not losing our Head Start. We're just giving Head Start the opportunity to grow alongside pre-K, just like kindergarten, first grade, second and third, fourth and fifth. And I also want to say that we have been short since December. I'm a teacher, and there's legally 5 licensing. There has to be 2 in the classroom. I've been by myself since December with people coming in and out just to help.
You might not want to be saying it on the camera.
Well, she's had help, but she's had
I've
help.
had
It's
help.
not permanent.
I've had not permanent help. I've had help come in and out, just not permanent.
We're just not being made aware of that.
No, I mean, we had subs, it's just the person that we
What I'm
weren't
saying
able
is,
to
to your
replace it.
statement, we're just not being made aware.
But I've had conversations with y'all about how hard it is to staff Kelly. And my final breaking point was when Terry left. How many times we have replaced the custodian and then with the secretary is trying to keep people staffed at Kelly. I know I've had those
But Nikki,
conversations.
did we ever determine why they were leaving?
It's hard, number one, to keep employees who wanna work. Number
Thank you,
two
Christian.
is to keep,
Thank you so much.
to keep people who wanna drive out to Kelly.
In 11 years, there's been 9 custodians, and 1 year we used contract services. So that's almost the first of the year.
So how many teachers did you lose this year at Kelly? How many have left?
None.
We only have 4.
No teachers.
So they're all,
Yeah,
All the teachers, we don't have a problem with teachers, it's support.
it's support.
The teachers stay.
And we're all coming back next year.
Anybody else?
We only have.
That's all, just that one.
So,
You really gave me-
before we vote, I just need to know, Monica, so I'm understanding that you are 100% behind moving the school up to the high school, or to that campus.
Yes, sir.
And Nikki, I'm understanding that you are 100% behind that,
It is the best financial move.
and you're 100% behind it.
I'm 100% trying to get us closer to zero.
So Nikki, if it wasn't for finance, would you be for?
Given the numbers, it doesn't make sense to keep operating 2 buildings at half capacity.
so is Natalie gonna be in charge? So it's one, there's not gonna be one for 3-year-olds, one for 4-year-olds?
No, our 3-year-old building leader is already, she did not want to return as building leader, so she wasn't gonna be there anyway.
So that's out.
I'll make a motion, we vote on it, but I'm contingent on Miss Johnny voting first.
Hold on, because I have a substitute. So what is your motion?
I know we vote on it, but I don't want to vote until Miss Johnny votes.
Well, I don't think you can do that.
Why I gotta vote first? Y'all make me vote
You
first
don't
every
really
time.
does.
Okay, I can go through.
We
You
gotta
can
have
go
a
right
second.
down the line.
All right, I got a substitute motion.
What is,
You got a second,
Yeah,
substitute
I'm
motion?
gonna offer substitute motion because, before I leave tonight, I had made up my mind that I'm gonna get this budget off of my back. 6 years, we've been dealing with it. 3 years ago, I told David I wasn't voting for it, and I didn't. Last year, I didn't vote for it. This year, I'm not voting for it. I think everybody who has been a part of have done a good job, but, Lynn, I don't think we've done the best job. I think there are other cuts in other areas that could take place relative to this school. Again, I think it's more of a want versus a need. I find that we do things that we want to do when we want to do them. We don't do them when we need to do them. So my substitute motion is going to be this. Before any school, and Kaylee, I want to make sure that I'll give it to you verbatim, because I'm going to put this on the board, because the board's only job is to set a budget. And I'm taking the superintendent out. She doesn't have anything to do with this. I'm talking about the board. This is our job. I think we've had miscommunication, in my opinion. We haven't gotten all the information in a timely manner that we should have. And I think people feel like the board works for them rather than working for the board. So my substitute motion is, before any school closure is considered, I recommend that the Caldwell Parish School Board consult with the Legislative Auditor's Office or an independent auditor of the board's choosing to obtain input, guidance, and recommended budgetary cuts prior to making a decision on closing of elementary schools.
I'll second that.
So you want, let's make this clear. You want an independent auditor to come into the schools, come into Caldwell Parish School System. And do what?
Make recommendations.
Make recommendations. So we're gonna hire an outside auditor to come in and make recommendations.
You say you want to get the budget cut?
Yeah, I wanna get the budget.
Okay,
cut.
well,
So we're
let's
gonna hire-
let's vote on the motion.
I'm just asking a question, Mayor. So we're wanting to hire an outside auditor to come in. How much is that gonna cost us to hire this auditor to come in?
What does it cost us to do it every year, even though it's not outside? I mean, we get audited every year.
10,000?
No, our outside auditor's got 90.
How much?
90,000.
90,000? Okay. So we're gonna add another 90,000 and have an outside
We
auditor
don't know
come
if
in.
it's 90.
When we're audited on,
Mr. President, it's a substitute motion on, we can vote on it. If it fails, we go back to the original motion.
we can also discuss it before we vote on it. And we also have to have discussion. Discussion's over, y'all wanna go, we got a motion to vote on it?
Kaylee, can we get a roll call vote?
Sure. Motion made by Perrin, seconded by Mr. Barton. All right, y'all.
So
Can
you
I
have,
say something before y'all vote on this? Part of the reason why we wanted to go ahead and make this decision in June is to give these teachers and these families time to make the adjustments to what's gonna happen next year now, so that they can move and get ready for school. Anything that we drag out is going to drag out that timeline. They've got testing and they've got enrollment. I don't want to lose any prospective kids and students by dragging out an audit. We're not even ready for the budget in 27. It's not due till September. We're still working on the budget for next year. I mean, we don't, Super App is not even due until June the 30th. And we have written, I mean, they're all prepared to give you reports tonight in their district, I mean, that's what y'all asked for, was reports tonight in their reports about how much grant money they have written for and what all that is going to entail. So we are working around the clock on next year's budget already. So we're not done working on what cuts are going to happen. I don't want to hold those 3- and 4-year-old teachers up with a decision to wait on an outside auditor to come in and work on something that we're already working on. So y'all can vote, I mean, that's, y'all do that. I'm
Nick,
just
I
need to say
appreciate and
that.
value everything you're saying, but you always look at it from your perspective, what you don't want. What I'm telling you as a board member, there are things that we don't want, and we've asked for this, we've asked for this, and we've asked for this. So what I'm doing is taking this off of my back, because you have a personal relationship with everybody at work, so it's hard for you to do it. Board members have got family members and all that, so I'm bringing in, I'm asking for independent people to come in and make the necessary recommendations that can get us down to a zero balance rather than going into a new board that's coming in November, December, January, and we're gonna give them a negative budget. That's not fair, that's not ethical, and it's disingenuous.
We can still do that without impeding the
We have a motion.
All right, roll call. Mr. Martin?
You're asking me to vote?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Ms. Fowler?
Lord, I don't know. I hate to put the money out to bring somebody else in. Is there anything in particular you're thinking of that you want to
I'm looking at all options since we haven't got all options. It makes it easier for everybody because for 5 years, everybody's, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. We can't continue to let taxpayers depend on us. You saw all of the comments that they don't trust the school board. They don't trust the system. So give them a reason to trust us now. Let's let somebody independent come in and make the necessary recommendations. We can either accept them or reject them. Then we move on. But again, I'm doing this for me so when I walk out, I can make sure that I can tell everybody that I no longer have any issue with this budget because I'm out of it, because I'm doing everything that I can. I came here, it was in good shape. It looks like I'm leaving, it's going to be in worse shape. I'm not going to do that to a new board that's coming in, whoever may run, they deserve to have a balanced budget. This is not, if it had been anybody else, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, 6 year, now we're going into the 7th year of a negative budget, that's disingenuous. So you can vote how you want to vote. It's not personal, you can vote no, yeah, that's fine.
I just hate to put out more money.
Follow your
But
heart.
I do think that there are other things that we can do as far as having people, I know you're supposed to have people to watch over classes and stuff like that. But maybe they can have, they're in their classes instead of having a PE and an art teacher at every school. Maybe there's things like that.
Melinda, I understand what you're saying, but we're really past the discussion. It's time to vote. It'd be hard to call it to a vote.
No.
Absolutely no. No.
Where's your voting on?
No to not vote for the people to come
You're
in.
voting not to bring in money.
No.
You gotta vote
Yes,
yes.
yeah.
All right, Ms. Fowler.
No.
Ms. Fowler.
No.
Mr. Castle.
No.
Mr. Rance.
No.
But he is right, we need to figure out more
He
cuts.
is right.
He's right.
And what we have now is not capable of doing it.
We're gonna have to make more cuts.
But if he's right, we voted no, so let's move on.
All right, the next motion is to vote on moving Kelly to the preschool.
You motion, Randy, somebody motion that?
No, I'm not, that's what we need.
I'll make the motion, but I'm not voting.
For veterans.
You make a motion, we vote.
Ma'am,
You make a motion, we vote.
I do.
You have to vote first, man.
Need a second? I'll second.
You don't have to vote
I
first.
just request that we call on Miss Johnny first.
I don't think you can
I
do that,
think that's
Bo,
putting her under the light.
because the precedent has been set that this is the, first, vote. Now, if the board can overrule it if they want to, that's fine.
We go in alphabetical order, or what,
Okay, well,
what makes it?
I'm a no vote anyway, so you can go
I'm
ahead
under
and
the
vote.
impression that the person that makes the motion is against. Am I thinking of that incorrectly?
Pretty much, you know the way it is, you gotta make a motion, well, he made a motion to vote.
He made the motion.
Contingent
Motion
upon,
to-
contingent
to
upon
move.
Johnny voting first.
Which Maria made a motion.
Johnny, you scared to vote first?
I second it.
And Ms. Bass made the motion. Mr.
Let's
Cassidy
go,
seconded.
let's go, people.
And then we're gonna go through the vote.
Go ahead.
Alright, so who's up first? Mr. Gordon?
I think it's me.
Yeah, that's
Did y'all want me to go?
That's fine, that's fine, so.
I'm good.
If you're okay with it, if you're not okay with it, don't do it.
I'm okay with it. I do wanna say before I do vote, that's okay. Yes, if I had my true feelings, I would not vote to close Kelly. But I think that it's in best interest of the school system, the budget, the kids. I regretfully vote yes.
Barton?
Yes.
Ms. Fowler?
I don't wanna do this, but I'm gonna do it. But I'm also gonna say, we're gonna get reports, and we're gonna watch stuff closer. And every dollar, even if it's federal, belongs to the school board system, and it's not the individual's money. Yes.
Mr. Glass?
No.
Ms. Bass?
Yes.
Ms. Fowler, Barton, and Mr. Castles.
Nobody wants to close the school, we know that, but it's something we gotta do. Yes.
Mr. Rance?
Yes.
Mr. Garrett?
All right, we're moving to H. The literacy update.
Good news.
Give us some good news, Mr.
All right, so we got some good news. I have the printout in your folder. I share that with you. It's showing our growth from beginning of the year to the end of the year in pre-K, and with phonemic awareness, they grew 50%, and you can see this on your chart. And alphabet knowledge, which is letter naming for us, they grew 58%. So seeing those pre-K come into kindergarten already at that grade level, and the instruction that K-1 Center does, we're going to see some growth there also. Our K-3, that's what the state looks at. In the beginning of the year, our K-3 was at 53% at the beginning of the year, and LDOE was at 50%. We were ahead of them 3%. But then at the end of the year, we grew 10%. We're at 63%, and the state was at 66%. So we were only behind 3% for them, and now we're looking at what can we do to increase our scores better there. So looking at 60%, that's still good. Our personal goal is to get at 80%. So we're getting closer every year. We're striving hard. These teachers, the admin are working hard to get those kids where they need to be. You have the kindergarten. Kindergarten, which we knew was a struggling year at the beginning of the year, they were at 32%. Now they were at 66%. That's 63 kids that grew, and when they were at 35 kids that were started on grade level. So kindergarten grew 34%. First grade grew 5%. They're at 68% now, which we're getting closer to that 80, even 70 is what we're, getting closer to. Second grade started at 63%, ended at 63%. So I know Ms. Kilpatrick now is working at what can we do to have that growth there also for the coming year. Third grade, they did decline 3%, and again, we're looking at. We have 4 students right now that are coming to summer camp. Several tested out the second try, so in the third try they have, June 18th is when they'll get their third opportunity to pass the test to go to 4th grade. 4th grade dropped 3%. One thing that happened with 4th and 5th, we did their testing right after league test. And so you know that once you give the league test, they're done. And so when we had to come in because of the issue of trying to get all K-3 testing, literacy and numeracy, that's the week that we came in. So looking at next year, we got to change that date. We're going to talk to Ms. Gregory and say we're going to have to change that date. Looking at 6th grade, they grew 7%. Our 7th grade declined, and we're looking at now what happened. I've talked to Ms. Watts. She has plans that we're going to have to put in place for next year to see that growth. And in 7th grade, we're only tracking just a few kids. So now we're going to have to make sure we're going to see what can we do to better support those there. And then 8th grade grew 11%, and then 9th and 10th grew 14%. And seeing those numbers at the high school level is really awesome for us because you know they're struggling there. But our interventionists, our teachers are working hard to make sure we're filling in those gaps. And if you have any questions, the principals are here. They don't mind sharing out what, or answering anything for you.
Is Christy here?
Who?
Christy.
Christy.
I'll wait till we get to the high school.
And then also LDOE, you're going to see LDOE gave us all a growth target. And so they gave the kindergartens moving at the end of kindergarten to the end of 1st grade. So 1st graders grew 56 students, met their growth target, which means Linda will get a growth score into her SPS. So she got 63% of hers that made their growth target. And then 2nd grade, those kids end of the year 1st grade to end of the year 2nd grade, we had 33% meet their goal, which was 29 students. So, any other questions?
Are you gonna talk about any of this in your report, or can I kind of
You
shout
can.
out?
You can shout out.
Okay. So, one of the things that I just wanna call out is the work that Ms. Guerrero does with our literacy. That a lot of people don't realize, in her position is under the CLSD grant. Not only does she monitor this grant, but she works with those interventionists and those programs to make sure that every one of our students has access to the literacy interventions that they have. And when you see all of that green and you see those red at the very end, those numbers are not very big. So that targeted work that they have, a lot of our people don't realize that our 9th graders have access to reading intervention. So a lot of times our students, if they don't learn how to read by 3rd grade, they're done. But we have been teaching and intervening with our students all the way up through 9th grade. So they're not done. They're still getting those interventions. And so I'm just super proud of the work that we do through junior high and high school to try to catch those kids who can't read and intervene for them. So thank you for that work. And the grant that pays for her position and also pays for 6 other positions to make that work happen. So, thank you.
All right, financial update.
I'm gonna skip pages 1 and 2 since that's general fund and sales tax. We've already talked about that quite a bit. Page 3 is lunch fund. We have a budget of $70,000 decrease, and a lot of that is because in prior years we've always done $200,000 transfer. In the last number of years we've done $100,000 trying to help the general fund. This year I'm a little bit more concerned with food costs. We all know food costs are going up. So I think 70 could be 70, might be 75, might be 80. I'm around there. Overall, it's pretty much on target except for food costs. And then if you look at the last page, is maintenance fund. Last year they were at $203,000 at this point, 11 months into it. Currently they're at $24,000. Last year, we did move $199,000 worth of buses into the maintenance fund out of the general fund. which gave them a $47,000 loss last year. This year, we're probably be close to breaking. So, that's what it is. And we'll go over
David, I drifted just a little bit. Could you give me the final numbers of cafeteria and maintenance?
Lunch fund was at $94,000 this time last year.
Okay.
This year it was $64,000.
Okay. And the maintenance was?
Last year it was $203,000. And that was right before we moved $199,000 worth of buses into that line item that was done in June. And this year we're at $24,000. So to discount the $199,000 out of $203,000, they were basically at $4,000. And this year we're at $24,000.
But with all the mess and all the stuff going up and everything else, both of these departments are.
They're holding their own. I mean, if they go over a little bit, it's certainly understandable.
But they're positive.
Sorry.
But they're in the good.
They have positive fund balances.
Good. Good.
All right. District leader update. Jake.
It looks like you're first.
So y'all asked for us to talk about, the grants that we manage and, how it, some of them are more complicated than others. I am over the redesign grant. Redesign changes, the rules change every year, on what we're allowed to spend on. So every year that we apply for this grant in the super app, I never know what we're gonna get, and I never know what they're gonna tell me I have to spend it on. So, my allocation last year actually, let me back up and say, the grant is, awarded to those schools who are, CIR or labeled schools. So for several years, it's just been Union Central and the junior high. And so the money is just split even, last year was split evenly between, Ms. Hillstead and I to spend. And the only thing we could spend it on was science PD and science curriculum. That was the only allowable that we had. We could not pay stipends, we could not pay travel. We could only pay for, a vendor to come in and provide the PD, which we did, and it was very good PD. And then, the new science curriculum, which was very costly. So, that put us at, each of us having a little over $45,000 apiece to spend on those two schools. This coming year, the grant looks completely different. This grant, we were awarded $264,000. We were given $100,000 for attendance to spend on attendance only. We were given $75,000 for a math coach and $75,000 for a literacy coach. So what we've written into the budget is for the $75,000 to go towards my salary, and the $75,000 for the literacy to go towards Miss Guerriero, so that we can break her CLSD funds with Miss Hillstead. We got $2,000 for initial implementation for the curriculum, which is professional development, and to bring somebody in. That was the only option. And then $3,000 to spend for new teacher trainings, and that's basically you got $150 per seat. And so we wrote for as many teachers to go to these. It's one's guidebook training for 5th grade teachers, and one is math training. So the majority of people I wrote in to go to math. For the math training, I could allow for stipends and travel, but for the ELA training, I could allow for stipends and travel, but the math, because it's a vendor, I had to ask Ms. Wiley for that money, so that they could go. I'm also over high dosage tutoring. This past year, we got $75,000, which, the year before, we had a vendor. But this year, we budgeted for each a para for each elementary school. Their salary was paid from that grant. This year, it's to be determined. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. It's coming.
We're hopeful.
We're hopeful. I'm hoping to do the same or more. If they give me more, I'm gonna try to find another way to do it. I'm also over direct student services. We got in total $32,441. 10,000, a little over 10,000 of that went for vouchers for the Steve Carter tutoring program, which our parents sign up and the state kind of handles that. The other had to be spent, which was $21,641, had to be spent on AI intervention, literacy intervention. So we purchased a Mira, which is that AI intervention program that I've spoke about at some of the board meetings, which we implemented back in February, and it's been, we saw huge gains with some children, so we're really looking forward to having it for a full year. And so that actual grant for 26-27 is also to be determined. So I don't know what we're gonna get or what it's gonna look like, but we're hoping for the same amount. So I think that's it.
Thank you.
Ms. Kim, you're responsible for a whole lot of grants, and a whole lot of money, it seems. Do you think that all the money that comes in under your discretion saves the school board money in the long term?
Well, it's saving us $150,000 on salaries.
So your answer is
this
yes.
coming year.
150,000.
Well, and then 75,000 for Paris.
Of 220.
Which is not counted in, that'll be
That'll be next year.
next year.
And you agree with that, Nikki?
We couldn't do it without it. Our kids would go without.
And we actually just found a way to do that 75,000
This week.
yeah, when I was doing the budget with Ms. Martinez. I couldn't do it without her. And we just had a brainstorm about what ifs. And you have to ask the right questions. You have to ask the people at the state, what can we, is this allowed? And I can say yes or no. And so they said yes. So,
And you said before that the state will call us when they get a new grant because we're always jumping in to work on them and do it.
And a lot of times they'll provide us a little flexibility because they know we're gonna do it right.
Yeah.
And so we'll just, like she said, we will hop on, like they'll write it a certain way, and I'll say, I wonder if we can, Maria's not, and I'll say, I wonder if we can, and we'll say, let's hop on a call, and we'll pitch an idea, and they'll say, okay, we'll let you try it. And so, we have a really good working relationship with the state, and they will let us try those things because they know we're gonna do what we say we're gonna do.
I saw the Missy, who is over attendance now at a regional meeting, and she's like, I'm just my attendance when they come in, you know, so having that reputation of doing what you're supposed to do, and when they come in and see what you're doing, because we had State Department come in and look at our high dosage tutoring to see how we were spending the money and what we were doing, and he was just, I think he was surprised that we actually did all the things that we said we were doing. Especially with our special ed.
They do a good job. They really do. Sandra?
Okay, so mine's a little different, but, so, yeah, I know y'all heard me talk about CEP, the Community Eligibility Provision. This is something we've had in place for the last several years. It's not necessarily a grant, but it is something I have to go in and do every year in order, you know, to get this. And it is my major source of funding. And of course, y'all know all of our kids eat free, and so that is a blessing for our families. But it's also a blessing for my program financially because right now, every child that goes through the line, I get reimbursed at the free rate. And so just to kind of give you like what that looks like, the lunch plate at lunch, the reimbursement rate is $4.71. For a paid student, not free, is 56 cents. So that's over $4 difference. So right now, every child that goes through the line, I get to claim at that $4.71. And there are numerous districts that do CEP. but not all get the 100% reimbursement. All the kids eat free, but they may not get to claim at 100%. And we were like that, like 1 or 2 years, where I couldn't claim the full 100, but we are at 100 now. Breakfast, I get $2.94 a plate. If it were paid, it would be 40 cents. So when you times that, all the meals that we serve each day, it's huge. So we are able to do that, and we are locked in for 3 more years. So we have that for the next 3 years, which is a blessing. Not only, like I said, for us, but the kids as well. We do have an equipment grant that we have been able to get equipment. I've gotten a tilt skillet at the high school, a warmer for the pre-K because we transfer the food over. Numerous things that we've been able to get, which relieves our maintenance program, because our maintenance program repairs and replaces my things. So whenever I'm able to get a grant, and I think in the last couple of years it's been like $24,000 worth of equipment that I've been able to get. And like I said, that helps our maintenance program because that's less they have to buy or repair. So that's my 2 main areas or ways to get money.
I share some of the grants with Kim as well, just because it's elementary and secondary. But I also am over the recruitment and retention critical shortage areas. It's called differentiated compensation. And so the state awards stipend money for a few different things, which one of them is if you're certified in special education K-12, math 6 to 12, and 6th grade through 12 for science. So those teachers are able, because it's such a critical shortage area in the state, they've identified that we get money to give our teachers for that. We also have money that we give for our mentor teachers and buddy teachers who support our new teachers, and to help retain our new teachers that go through that. That grant changes yearly, and I've only been over this grant since I've only been in this position 1 year, but it's $32,000. So we were able to pay out all of that money with $16,000 worth of high critical shortage area teachers, and then $12,000 and $18,000 for our buddy and mentor teachers. I also want to kind of talk about our public relations thing that I've been working on behind the scenes, calling it the Face of Caldwell. Highlighting people and programs and services that make a difference for our students across the district. I know a lot of times we get into the mindset of it's just a building or these are just people, but these are our people who do a lot of work behind the scenes, and I've truly enjoyed being able to highlight some of the great things that they do, because sometimes some of these key individuals do not get seen. They don't get talked about, and they don't get enough recognition. In addition to discussing our teachers, support staff, student programs, and district personnel who help with these inside of the classroom, we showcase positive work taking place in our schools, and we are providing weekly updates with Ms. McCann weekly, just to kind of give people the truth about the budget and the raw information that people maybe don't know but they assume. And so I feel like we've gotten a lot of great feedback from that, and we'll continue to highlight this throughout June. So I'm excited to kind of get out the rest of those videos, but I just wanted to let y'all know we were doing that to kind of, number one, put out some positivity, because we do have such a great school district. And they all work extremely hard, and so it's really nice to hear from students and bus drivers and custodians and other support staff like our school psychologists and our social workers and therapists who work behind the scenes and maybe don't actually work here full-time, they may contract, their work as well. So it's been nice to kind of share that information with the community.
So Kata, does the IT department have anything to do with that?
No.
You know?
They're busy.
It's just, speaking of which, I've had the pleasure, I told Ms. McCann when she asked me to do this, because Kim and Maria were testing for dibbles, and of course, they were wrapped up at that time, and so when we were discussing doing this, I mean, I've been able to interview over 75 employees and students, and go across from every school and kind of find, you know, where, you know, their strengths are and what is so wonderful about their school, and highlighting some of those great things, which you can't do it all in 2 minutes. But anyway, it's been really rewarding to see some of the positivity, and I know that they're excited to see, for everybody else to see the great things that we're doing.
All right, so I've got 3 grants to discuss. All of them are a little bit different and different than most everybody here. The first one is the Educational Excellence Fund, which the board approved to withdraw that out of the investment account and pull it into our account. This year we decided to kind of close that and bring it to our side. We still have to get approval of it every year on what we spend. So if there's anything left over that we didn't purchase or that didn't come through, we still have to go back the next year and have what we plan to spend it on approved through the state. We pulled over $265,000 out into our side so that it wouldn't get appropriated somewhere else, I'll put it that way. This grant pays for instructional enhancements through technology. We've tried to use bigger projects with this so that it's not just a consumable that goes away quickly. We've used laptops and Chromebooks, fiber runs to buildings, network equipment that will last more than a year or 2. We try to get at least 4 years out of anything we purchase with that grant, because once that money's gone, it does not come back. The next is the E-rate program. This is a federal discount program. We do this every year, and every 5 years we have a second part of it, which was just done this past year. And it varies by amount. So the 2 different types, Category 1. Category 1 is for internet and network services, and we have to apply for that, and then we get a discount of it. This year we applied for $127,188. Out of that, thankfully, we only have to pay $12,700, so we got a 90% discount on that. If we didn't have this grant, we would be paying $127,000 a year for internet and network across the district. So E-rate is very, very important. As a matter of fact, this year after filing, because we are 100% free lunch, that transfers over into E-rate. And we got a 90% discount instead of a 85% discount, and it saved us roughly $200 a month on Category 1. Category 2 is the one we apply through E-rate every 5 years, and it's for hardware, network equipment, things like that. When we did this 5 years ago, we ran fiber to every building. That was when money was coming in from COVID money and the federal government was throwing money at us. We spent it wisely and spent it on infrastructure. Was able to run fiber all the way to Kelly. Well, this year we're in a financial crunch, so we didn't ask for a lot of money because we still have to spend our percentage of that. And for Category 2, that's 15%. So this year we asked for the bare minimum for this program, which was $81,000, and of that $81,000, we're going to pay about $12,000 of that. That's our 15%, and that is just to reapply for licenses for the network equipment we already have. So instead of replacing a big amount and spending a lot of money, we spent what was only necessary out of that. The last grant is the Safe Schools grant, which the IT department worked with Ms. Gillette to get a lot of safety equipment. This grant is tied to specific schools for specific things. We received $92,199 for that account. That one actually allowed for door entry access to all the schools, or to 2 of the schools, I'm sorry. 2 of the schools, Columbia and the high school, which gives Cell phone access, when a teacher walks up, they're able to access that door. So we can get rid of a lot of exterior keys that have been floating around for years. It's going to make the school a lot safer. Also, we have a visitor access for both of those two systems that we tried out a couple of years ago, where if somebody comes in to check in a student, they sign in through this program, through the iPad that's there. It checks to make sure that they are able to check that student out, that it does a federal background check of their identification. They have to be who they say they are before they can enter that school for whatever purpose that is. So that $92,000 is what that program went for. So.
Mike, 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard of a program where a teacher can be sitting in the classroom or standing in the classroom, depending on who the principal is, standing in the classroom, monitoring her kids or his kids, and each one of those children have a Chromebook, and that teacher can sit here and look at his or her screen and see everybody's Chromebook at the same time. You ever heard of that program?
Yes.
Do we have that program?
We test drove that program, and what we found out with a few classrooms that we had that in, and this has been 5-6 years ago, was that the teacher ends up focused here because there's 20 tabs for the kids that are in the classroom, and they're not focused on the kids. So instead, we recommend that the classrooms be turned in a way where the teacher can focus and see them from behind and see those Chromebooks and what they're doing. That's what we suggested over that program.
You know, one of the main problems we have, not just here at our school or any school, is teachers monitoring what's actually happening on the Chromebook.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of times, whether they're letting them use cell phones or whether they're letting them use Chromebooks, you can't see what that child is doing. So that's my question. That I mean, I can pick my laptop up and walk around the room now and still look at everybody's. If that's the reason you didn't get, that's something I think we should do. If it's feasible, now we're talking about spending money, but that's something I wish every teacher here had. If we're going to use Chromebooks in the classroom and everybody's going to have one, we need to be able to see what they're looking at.
And we did look at that too, and it's a big expense. That program is very expensive. So what we went with instead was, again, the teacher orienting their classroom to where they can monitor those students while they're going, and also closing the lids. When they're not necessary, put them away. Monitor while they're out, put them away while they're not.
Next question. So cafeteria has a budget, maintenance has a budget. Do you have a budget?
That EF and E-rate, that is
So
it.
who overlooks you and how do you get approval before you spend money?
We've got to go through the State Department, through the e-grants management system. They approve what we can spend it on. Ms. McCann sees it, David sees it, everyone approves on what that's spent.
So would you say your budget or your whatever is in good standing?
Absolutely.
Are you operating in the positive?
Absolutely. Well, we're into zero because everything we
Mike, I love that. I love that. Is that
Yeah.
because you spend all your money on the kids? I love
It went exactly where the state makes
But you
sure
ain't
that's
in the
where it
negative.
goes. I'm not in the negative.
Okay.
So if you forget your phone at the door, how do you get in there? Just hang up the
There
phone.
are cards we're gonna issue. We test drove this with the principals when it got put in a few months ago. There are cards that can be swiped. Honestly, if you left your phone at home, you're gonna go through the front door where it's open and you're gonna check in and sign in the front door anyway. So, and it's been, I would say it's been very helpful, security-wise. Yeah, I can, certain individuals can be off campus, and if someone needs in that building, they can let them in from that and then check the camera to make sure that is that person that's going in that door, and that it gets shut back.
Mike, I think both trying to highlight that you are operating in the positive.
He's at a zero.
I'm at a zero. At a zero.
All of our grants are in and out, you have to, yeah.
Yeah, you've got to spend what you're gonna spend it on.
Okay, outside of the grants, are you in positive?
Ms. Furia?
Okay, I operate the CLSD grant, which this year is the UIN, which consisted of Columbia, Grayson, and the high school. And we were funded $520,000. And so out of that funding, we paid 5 different salaries from that. The interventionist, we did my salary plus a teacher at the high school, and we're able to pick up a literacy para far as that, because she's working with that, so that helps the general fund for their salaries. And then this year, we got the K-5, which is called CLSD 3.0, and so that took care of Central and the junior high. We were funded $260,000 for this year, and that did pay for 3 different salaries also there. So we funded with CLSD 8 salaries, full salaries. The money, they tell us, can only be spent on students for literacy and closing those gaps. So with that funding, we were able at the high school, the junior high, the 3.0, have a literacy mentor, which she goes in and supports the new teachers. She coaches them, goes in and models best strategies, and then she sits side by side in planning. They do common planning. So she's there on time, real-time support, and that has helped a lot of our teachers because we're trying to keep our teachers. Another thing we can spend on is on materials, so the general fund doesn't have to buy their curriculum. Our grant was able to fund that curriculum for this year. When 3.0 came out, we did not know that UIM was going to go away. So we wrote in for this new grant that coming this year will include Grayson, Columbia, and the high school. So they'll all be funded on the 3.0 to support that and continue with the salary. The funding, how much we're getting, is pending on Bessie. So that'll be coming, that we are getting money, but we just have to see what we're going to get. So all of this, we were able to get Chromebooks for our students to work in small group. That helps with the Chromebook situation. The teachers were able to get a teacher Chromebook that they can do data analysis, student work, monitor their data, and do things with that. So all of my stuff is for literacy, to support those kids and to fill in those gaps. So that's where my funding goes to. And it is not a zero. We do spend our money.
If the grant is 3 years, after the 3 years, either you take it out of general fund or you get rid of the person.
But we're looking, usually they'll come with more grants, because we're always looking for more grants. Right. We're always constantly looking.
Right, so whether you get rid of them on the front end or the back end, you still gotta get rid of somebody at some point.
Yes.
So if you make cuts now to offset a deficit that we're dealing with, at some point you still gonna have to do it, potentially, with a grant.
Yeah.
So grants are only temporary.
Yeah, it's a moving target at all
Yeah.
times. The state can bless you at certain times, and then they can surprise you going the other direction, and all of a sudden you have to regroup everything. So it's always in motion.
Oh, David, by the way, I did check, and on the audit, which it appears we're paying $50,000 more now than we did in 2016, 2018, just because Mr. Rent made the comment about the actual price. So I think it would have been well worth the money had we chose that option. I just wanted to I'll let you know that I give it up. And you forget that KPMG can provide a lot of stuff.
Well, coincidentally, I didn't get into it. I reached out to someone that works for the legislative auditor last week, and I said, who do I need to talk to? Because the folks have changed, retired. I said, who do I need to talk to about financial distress? Because I said, we don't have a going concern issue where we're not going to be here next year, but we can't keep on going. And so I have a name. I'm going to contact her tomorrow.
Yeah, I had Chris Turner's office to call the legislative auditor. I got a name as well.
Okay.
David, I don't need a 4-page text message, but could you kind of keep me a little bit in the loop on what this is?
Okay. I will.
So all of our positions are more or less grant funded. There is some general fund in ours, and that goes back to LA4, the year we became an LA4 grantee. Whatever the district was providing, you were supposed to maintain that level so you're not complaining. There have been cuts to it through the years. Like right now, we could probably drop a little bit and they would be okay with it, but we have to ask anytime we do that. Like 8G is the first grant I'm responsible for. It's $58,495. back probably 10 years ago, it was 80,000, it funded 2 teachers. The year that they dropped down to funding 1 teacher, LA4 allowed us to pick it up with LA4. So, that $58,000, it pays 75% of a classroom teacher and her benefits. It's not even enough to pay 1 teacher. Then LA4, that we're funded $362,700, but it's an attendance-based grant. Every month, by the 10th of the next month, you have to submit attendance, and it reimburses you per pupil. It's $558 per student per month. So that if the kids come and they have an excuse, then you still get paid for them. But if a child doesn't come and doesn't have an excuse, then we don't get paid for that child that month. But this year with reduction in enrollment, we're funded for 362. Like I said, it comes quarterly. We're at about 343. So, but the bulk of that, the grant is salaries and benefits. Salaries about 228,000, benefits 68,000. We pay the copier lease and some technology subscriptions out of that just for pre-K. It's around 7,500. The curriculum, tier 1 curriculum, about 27,000 coming up. Then the snacks that they're served during the day, we budget around 10,000. We're a little less than that this year. Materials and supplies, so this would be tier 1. Supports to that, and then the things the teachers need in the classroom, paint, Play-Doh, replacing things in there, it's around 20,000. The Head Start grant is our largest, and LA4 pays 4 classroom teachers, 4 paras, and part of the pre-K coordinator salary. The Head Start grant is a large grant, it's $981,813. 6 teachers, 6 paras, secretary, custodian, pre-K3 coordinator, percent of family services, percent of our literacy specialists, percent of our early childhood SPED coordinator, and health and safety. Those salaries, so I had 2 figures on here. I had what we paid out this year, and then I had what it would be if we do make the change and pick up some of those other salaries. So moving into the new year, the salaries will be $655,161. Benefits $196,548. We have $12,500 budgeted for our family engagement and parent engagement, family involvement. That's a requirement of Head Start to have those programs. $10,000 for snacks. The materials and supplies around $23,000, and then the indirect cost on that grant. That's the first one we have that brings in indirect costs, and it's if we get the full amount of the grant, around $80,000. Our lead agency and Ready Start Network grants, $108,137. Salaries and benefits, salaries about $35,200, benefits $10,560. Contract services $3,600 with our copier lease. Our class observer training that has to be redone every year. Our Seesaw online portal with travel, those things together in that code are $21,000. Then, like this grant's primary, the Ready Start is for outreach, it's for advertisement, it's for doing things when you have family events or registration. So those outreach materials, advertisements, family event signage, and this year we got tables and chairs was $20,000, and the indirect cost on that is $5,946. We also have a CLSD for birth through 5. It's a $169,000 grant. This pays the other portion of the literacy specialist salary. It's $54,538. Our benefits are $16,466. We contracted with the Center for Literacy and Learning. They did the science of reading modules with our teachers and came in and did coaching. It was $39,348. Our Waterford Early Learning Family Literacy component, where they'll come in and do the trainings with our parents, as well as the big family kickoff, is $20,000. Class literacy training module for our literacy lead teachers, $2,700. This year they had and this money, I did it on this year's money because we don't have our allocation for the future years, so it's just a rundown. It'll primarily be the same as far as salaries and benefits. The Plain Talk Literacy Conference, $7,100, and teacher leader with registration, lodging, and travel, about $4,900. Then our Acadians Pele, which is where we get our data that feeds into our literacy scores, is $450. Tier 1 curriculum, which is gonna be new next year, $10,791, and the indirect cost on that grant is $12,620. So the indirect cost on all those is money that goes to general funds. It doesn't come into our purpose.
And Monica, all the information y'all giving is good, but can y'all provide us a copy of what you guys are giving so we can have to look at it if, in the event that we got any questions? Because, I mean, I don't know what you said.
Right, and I would love to give y'all like I can give you just a quick one sentence about what Ready Start is and what the, I would love to be able to give you like just a paragraph with it where you can, you've got the numbers and what it's for.
Yeah,
Because
just
some of
provide us a
ours
copy.
can't be spent on salaries and benefits, some can, just like everyone else's. So that would be good for y'all too, however you refer to it.
Monica, I kept hearing you use the word budgeted. I budgeted this and budgeted that. So you have a budget pretty much. So when you get ready to buy something, who decides whether you buy it or not? Is that your call?
Well, so all of these are just like they were saying, it's in the state system, so the state has to approve it. They're very, very prescriptive on what's in there. Same thing with Head Start, so
Right.
it's in there approved, and once that, if it's in there approved, then it pretty much is an allowable, so then it would, I
What
sign it and
means
it goes
something
through.
outside the grant?
I mean, I don't have any money outside of a grant.
So you operate fully on the grant?
Fully on grants,
So are you in good standing?
yes.
Are you in the positive or you zero like Mike?
I'll be zero by the end of the year.
Good deal, Mike. Thank you.
On all the grants, they're audited by the CPA firm. And they're also, a lot of them get audited every year, some of them get audited every 3 or 4 years. I know Monica just went through a big one last year. So, I mean, everything kind of gets looked at twice at least. In addition to the on-site review, whether Nikki looks at it or James for maintenance, I look at some of the grants, depending on what it is, or sometimes I just accidentally look at it. So, I mean, there is a lot of oversight, and I know the board sees, the checks that are issued every month.
Monica already knew the answer to those questions. I just wanted you to say that.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So David, the oversight,
Yes.
or the question that we're asking, the same question that's being asked to them?
Yeah, I mean, it's all appropriate. I mean, like you said earlier, y'all are ultimately in charge.
Right.
I don't think,
But I'm not sure if that's understood.
it is from me. I don't know.
Well, I think you do an excellent
Okay,
job.
but I mean, I try to stay within my lines. I know I didn't last week with an email, but, I still
You
don't
were in
regret
your
that.
lines.
So, I enjoyed it way too much. So,
And look, you're still here.
I'm still here. I haven't gotten the call from Baton Rouge, or Vicki has not gotten the call from Baton Rouge that I'm aware of.
Got a few emails.
Maybe a few emails. So,
Oh, well, you know,
That's all right.
you gotta keep them straight.
That's all
right.
right. Thank you, Monica. Ms. Fowler?
Well, Baron asked for some visual to look at, so I heard you, Baron. I'm giving you something to look
I
at.
certainly appreciate that, Ms. Wiley.
If you think about it, look back on that color sheet there. Does it look familiar?
It does, yeah.
Can you tell me where that sheet come from? Other than Nikki?
Oh, somebody besides me?
Where y'all think that color sheet come from?
This, it came from that, report that we did, district report.
The annual report,
Yeah.
right. That came from the, that annual, report that, Ann gave out, at our breakfast last year, 2025 annual report. That's my part that came out, and I thought I would just make y'all copy to remind you of what we do in federal program. Our federal program and grant supports the entire system. All schools, plus all course subjects in a variety of areas. That's what federal programs do. Every set of students will see that. We serve the 3 elementary schools, we serve the junior high, we serve the high school, and also we serve pre-K. We serve everybody in the district that Head Start. And my programs that I administer are Title I, Title II, 4, 5, L, and homeless. Program supported for knowledge, daily education, kennel, Committee for Children, Network, CERN, Amplify, curriculum study, and the three elementary schools. And that's, data interpretation, meetings that they have during the summer. We do that yearly in the summertime, and that's where, the teachers look at their data, and they study test data of the current students and the students that will be teaching next year. And the principals test schedule meetings, and we pay them a stipend of $35 an hour. Our boys is going. And we pay them for doing this. We pay them up to 4 hours at $35 an hour. And that's a very good tool for them to use to get ready for next year. We have time to go over their test data and instruct the students out where they are, what they need to begin with. And also, we'll be doing summer school improvement plans as well. Each school will have to do a plan that say how they're going to use their start their school off, and how to improve their school. Everybody needs a plan for everything. So each school will have to have a school improvement plan where you they have a goal in reading and a goal in math. It has a budget signed by the teachers, school team, and the superintendent. They turn that in, and that's their Bible for that school year. Also, programs for Caldwell Junior High and High School and the elementary schools all do these school improvement plans. Okay, CKLA on-site coaching, CERN student workbooks, grade 4 to 5, CKLA skills and knowledge, printed material and kits, grades K to 1, and career fair at the high school. We did that last year, we did it again this year. By the numbers, provide beginning of school motivational national speakers and district-wide. And the teachers really like that because we have very interested speakers coming in, motivational speakers, and they get the teachers on and line up and ready for the beginning of school. We purchased Chromebooks in all 3 schools, 40K to 12, teacher professional development, travel, stipends, and tuition reimbursement. But then we go back and get certified. Assisted with family engagement support at all school districts, supplemented instructional curriculum programs in all content areas district-wide. We do a lot over the parish, a variety over the parish, to do over $900,000. We also do, that's not in his district annual report, we do salary and benefits for 13 employees. We have the 3 elementary teachers that serves as literary integrationists. Those part of the 13 different salaries. A parent gracer, a preschool teacher, and a preschool para. 2 paras, 1 at the high school and 1 at New Central. And we pay that for free. That's our Title IV money. 2 JAG specialists, which is a state program, but that's a program that I'm over. One at the high school, one at the junior high. My salary, assistant, administrative assistant salary, which is Laura, and a federal program supervisor, which is Erica. We bought Chromebooks for all schools, 30 for the elementary school, and we bought some for the high school. Postal printer, district-wide, every school has a postal printer now. A book by, vending machine. We have Rebecca here. Rebecca, is Rebecca here?
Belinda's here.
Well, there you go.
She didn't put Rebecca.
Can you enlighten the board about your vending machine that you got?
Yeah, the favorite sister, yeah, Rebecca. So I went and toured a school, in the Bossier Parish area, and so that's one of the things that they had to really push literacy and, kind of as a reward type system. So it was a book vending machine versus a candy vending machine or a toy vending machine, and so we're still working on how that's gonna look this year, because we got it late in the school year, but for the end of the year, any student, we picked our top 5 students that scored high on our Dibbles assessment in first grade and kindergarten, and they were able to get a token and go get a book out of the vending machine. So we're working kind of on, how we wanna use that this year, because we did get it late in the year this year. I think we got it in, the end of April, 1st of May, so.
I offered that to all the schools, the problem was, they couldn't get them through the doors.
Yeah, they are, it is big.
All the schools were offered, a vending machine. And, Melissa tried so hard to get it through the door.
I tried, I begged, you know, have a smaller machine, anything we can make this work.
They couldn't put it in cafeteria.
Those are not cheap either, but they're very motivational for the students. I'm not gonna go rehab, one of the, owners bragged about, his daughter being a top reader or something, and that was able to get to go there, and he was just so gleaming, and he was very proud of it. So those type of things really work, but they light up and they catch your attention. All right, back to school consultants for August, and also for January, we paid that, those figures. And then at the junior high, Bailey Group, the side-by-side coaching district-wide. Professional development stipends and benefit, tuition reimbursement for teachers, certification, professional leave, travel, PD, uniform, book bags, and hygiene kits for homeless students, the contract for change maker, leadership support program, district community, business breakfast. This is the second year we've done that, and that has gone on real well. Supplies and the interpreter for our L program. We have some students that can't talk English at all, and we pay for an interpreter to help them with their instruction. Teacher stipend, district-wise, as I said, district level, parental involvement, costs for refreshment supplies, the good district advisory council meeting, 4 times a year, where we have parent meetings and parent education. Signing bonus for certified teachers. The signing bonus is for like teachers, parity teachers that are certified, we give them a bonus, and they have to stay here at least, incented to stay here at least 3 years. If they give them for 3 years, they'll stay. A wide variety of resources, parish-wide. We do that without our federal program money. We do it. We try to, whatever teacher asks for, our principal asks for, we try to fix it, change it around, reword it or whatever, so we can get that with that. Over $900,000 of grant money. So that money that comes in our district, the grants really serve our district well. And we have, like I said, we can supplement, but we can't supplant. We can't take stuff away from the general fund to pay for it. We have to pay for supplemental materials, supplies, resources. Any questions?
I know this is off the subject here, but, how many homeless children do we have in this parish?
How many?
How many? Is it a lot? Is it a few?
Well, homeless,
Yeah.
we used to have a lot, but some of the time it's like children stay with their grandparents. Or two families living together. That kind of,
They're living with another family. So there's more than you would think. When you think about the definition.
And you get money.
Just never even.
That's one of those clothes closets that the different schools have. So if you've got something to donate, I know they'll want it.
I know, this hygiene kit, I mean, that's, that's very important.
But you gotta realize that, Johnny, most people who are in that situation, they'll never tell you that because they already being judged, for no apparent reason, which is why, you'll never know what the exact percentage is. I mean, that's, people probably stay right next to you, and you don't know it.
So true.
Can I say how Miss Wiley has helped probably everybody in this district, and Miss McCann will attest to this. She sent us to the National Technology Conference last year. Ryan and I had the opportunity to go and learn a lot of stuff and bring it back to the district. One of the biggest things we brought back was the use of AI, and how I think every teacher, and I know everybody in this room at that level, has used it this last year in a way that has made us more productive and got us honestly more grant money and allowed us to use more things. So we're all kind of connected in how we use these grants.
Well, one thing about it, small little parish, and we can't just sit here and just go on to things that we've done all the time. Things are changing so much, there's so much out there. And we all can't go, but we can get it and bring it back to district. That's how we learn, that's how we grow. And unless we do that, we won't grow because we won't know how to grow because we have knowledge. All close.
All right, Rebecca?
I think there's just three of us left.
So a lot of mine that fall in my department work a little bit differently than, because two of mine are pure reimbursement, which is a little bit different than what some of the other things. So Medicaid technically falls under my department. I've worked really hard with the business department to try to maximize that every way we can. And all we do with that Medicaid reimbursement is it really just goes towards salaries. So that Medicaid last year was $519,000, and it pays the majority of salaries for about 17 therapists. A lot of those are contract. That's how that's possible, because sometimes it may be somebody that's just contracted like 1 hour a week. High cost services is the same way. It's a reimbursement grant. And so this past year, they paid 42% of the salaries for 15 paraprofessionals here in the school system. Our Bug Rehab Partnership is something you've done the past couple of years, and again, it's pure salaries. It pays 75% of a teacher's salary and 75% of a parent's salary. That's all you can do with that money. IDEA is the grant that I have that is per pupil based on how many kids we have with disabilities in the parish. Currently, it's paying for 4 salaries, and all but one of those are at 100%. The other money that's in that fund basically goes to pay for anything that a student with a disability in the parish could possibly need, whether that's a bouncy band or whether that's a really expensive piece of assistive technology that filters out sound in a certain way to pair with the child's hearing aid. All of that has to come from this fund. We've done a lot of PB and classroom support out of this one, and this year we partnered with the SARD, and then we had Roxanne West, who is somebody that the department asked us to work with to implement that inclusion playbook that the state gave us. The only other fund that I have is the Disability Innovation Fund. That's the DIF grant that you guys hear me talk about a lot. The state gave us this past year $320,000 there, but they made me turn around and spend $100,000 of it with their preferred vendor to provide TV for us. But that, some of y'all might disagree with me, but to me that one's been completely worth it because that's what we've opened the cafe with. That's what we've paid the bus driver to run a route in the middle of the day to bring kids down to the restaurant. That's what we bought the greenhouse with. And actually, that's what they let me buy the feed for the chickens with, that kind of stuff all comes out. So we've really been able to use that grant a lot to expand opportunities for our students. Shameless plug, cafe is back open for the summer. Farmers market starts Saturday, and the coffee shop at 412 Collective on Pearl Street will be open on Saturday, so go buy some coffee, see our students. But all of those funds together, and before I say this, I don't write really any of these by myself. These are massive grants that take, sometimes, it takes all of us to do it, but together, those 5 are about $1.5 million, but there's 39 salaries that are coming out of those grants because of the way they're written. Since they are reimbursement grants, we're able to pour that money straight back to the salaries, so.
You can keep those kids until they're 22? 22, okay.
All of my money has to do with CTEs, and it's all based on how many CTE courses we have and how many students we have enrolled in that. We do the Perkins grant, which is only about $25,000. Anybody will tell you they hate Perkins because you get a little bit of money and it's so hard to write for. There are so many stipulations and they're very picky about each individual thing. The other pot of money I get is CDF. It's the Career Development Fund. It's based on how many kids are in certain courses. This year I got about $88,000. That pays for all the supplies, the testing, stipends, different things, anything that has to do with CTE and IBCs where students are actually earning certifications. And welding iron is really high and lumber is really high, but we have to supply that for those classes so the students can earn their certifications. I also got money for our internship students. We had 22 internship students during the school year. I got $1,000 each for them. That helped pay them a stipend for when they completed their classwork and their paperwork. And then it could buy supplies, like if they were in a job where they needed boots or they needed scrubs or they needed something like that, we can use that internship money for that. The other money that I oversee is SCA. It's supplemental course allocation. That pays for all of our students' dual enrollment courses. If they take English 4 dual enrollment, world history, U.S. history, those types of classes, it pays for that, so the students have no out-of-pocket on dual enrollment. And then it also pays for Jumpstart Summers. So in the past couple of years, we've had classes during the summer for the students where we paid them. That comes out of that. This year, for Jumpstart Summers, we're only doing internships. We've got 18 students right now working in internships around the parish, and I've got 3 more I'm waiting on places or them to get the driver's license and different things like that. So we should have over 20 students in internships just this summer.
Chris, I had a few questions and I forgot what
Communication.
James, see the last one?
What was it?
I thought you said 3.
He's going to be on the calendar now.
I'm brief. We got 9 weeks until we start back to school. My crew, we're servicing buses right now. The principals have been advised to get me maintenance requests. Number 1 thing we're working on is HVAC, that's heat and air, lights, electricity, plumbing, and then we'll try to get anything else that's on their mind or that they need fixed in the buildings before that 9 weeks ends and we come back to school.
So James, when is your last day?
Should be around July 31st.
Okay, so you'll have time I guess to consult with whoever we get, whatever the decision is, to talk to them about certain things, you know, the ins and outs.
Yes, sir, of course.
Mike, does everybody have access, that need access to the school, the keypad and all that?
We are building that, and we're gonna train the teachers when they come back to school.
But I'm saying, but there are some who still don't have.
Correct, correct.
Okay.
They have
The school
four
resource
keys.
officer
They
indicated
have
to me that
keys.
he didn't have it, which I think he would be the one that should have it.
He's one we're gonna add to it. We test drove it with the principals. That's the only people that had it at this point.
So let me ask you this, when you guys do security, can you kind of consult with
Oh, yeah,
with that department to kind of get a better feel on what law enforcement would expect?
absolutely, absolutely.
Superintendent report.
Before we go there, I got a question for Miss Gregory and Miss Gilpatrick. Miss Gregory, and Miss Gilpatrick, along the same lines as everybody else, your school's operating in a positive and you're getting everything that you need at your school. So when you need something, do you just buy it or do you have to go to somebody and buy it?
Well, we
Y'all
get,
have y'all a budget to go by?
well,
Like if your copier breaks down,
I
how
do.
do you buy it?
Well, I mean, if I need something that I can't afford, I usually go to Miss Wiley first.
Okay.
Curriculum and everything.
Everybody goes to Miss Wiley, don't they?
Everybody goes to Miss Wiley.
And I always tell you yes.
We rarely would she say no. And sometimes she just surprises us with things.
So you have a computer screen at your school that your secretary looks at and says, Ms. Gregory, we've got this much money in our, okay, and you're operating in a positive.
Secretaries don't, they're not in charge of that.
Who does that?
We
You
do.
So you're able to look at your budget and say, hey, I've got this much money in. And are you operating in a positive too?
Yes.
Okay.
What about Belinda?
Yeah, there's, okay,
got
good.
very
What about,
good
I'm assuming you do too. So all of our schools are operating.
Abundant. Yeah, we don't have a ton.
I understand that. Hey, Coach Wells is 24,000, but it's positive.
Right,
So-
we have made sure to dedicate our fundraising funds. We put it out there for the parents, like we're buying such and such with these funds, and we make sure that we
Well,
provide.
the reason I've asked this question to everybody is I don't want anybody thinking that our district leaders are not operating their school systems like they need to be operating, and that their money is good, and that they're spending the money on the kids, and they're getting what they need. I don't want anybody thinking that. And I already knew that, but I just needed to ask you that. Thank you.
We make it Christmas at all our schools.
That's why you the favorite in the room, baby. My birthday's next week, just kidding. Sorry, Mr. King.
All right, so, all I have is, of course, millage renewal on June the 27th. Early voting starts, June 13th through 20th, and so, if ever there was a time to renew the millage, hopefully we've made a point that we absolutely are depending on this existing funding, that's been in place for 40 years. Like Ms. Hillstead said, we've been trying really hard to put out all the positives that we're doing in spite of the budget deficit, but on Fridays, we're trying, again, to answer the questions, with little short 2-minute clips that address the questions that have come up about where the money goes and what our revenue problems are, and then under each clip, I'm posting the town hall video again, so that if there's any questions, I mean, I don't know how much more transparent we can be, but if there are any questions, please send them my way, and we will dig and ask for more questions, but we're trying to be very responsible with the money that we have coming in. So millage renewal on the 27th. The other thing is we need to set a policy meeting, because outside of budget, we still have a district to run. And we need to, and we can add the dyslexia conversation, Baron, to it that you just mentioned. But before that, we need to, she talked about the attendance money that we got. So we have a job description that needs to be approved that goes with that position. Mike wants to address the acceptable use
Right.
policy for technology.
We want to update it and revamp it a little bit to make it more with the times.
And then, over the, what was that, gosh, back in the ice storm.
February.
Back in February, during the ice storm, I
January.
started, January. when I started looking at our district leader observation and evaluation tools, they're very outdated. They're still S's, N's, and U's, and I was getting ready to evaluate our principals on their middle of the year. I would like to align our district leaders' observation tools to our principals' observation tools, because our principals' observation tools are aligned to teachers' observation tools. And so, we spent some time with the help of AI, that they brought back in aligning those so that we're all, from teachers to principals to district leaders, all aligned with those domains. And so I gave those out to the district leaders last week, and we're gonna kind of look at those side by side as I evaluate them in the month of June. But I would like to bring those to the policy committee to look at adopting those for use next year. And so I would like for us to look at that. So we just need to set a policy meeting.
Kaylee, that was gonna comment, board member comment, because I want, the AI policies, and I wanna make sure that it's done before July. So, Maria, if you and, Melinda can tell her, because if we, the sooner we can do it, the better.
We can do it next week.
I want the, hiring policy, to be discussed, and, the duties of a board member. But, the AI policy, I think, I'm gonna reach out on a limb. I think it should be the strictest policy there is in the country because of what's going on and how things, transpire with AI. So Maria, if you and Melinda can, kind of search, maybe AI, whatever, to come up with a policy.
I go to this guy in the corner right here.
There is no policy.
Well, we need to have one, before, school starts.
That's why we wanna do it in July,
Okay.
before school starts.
Is that gonna be involved with the acceptable use policy? Or
Yes,
is that a separate one?
yeah. Well, that may need to be
The
separate.
AI policy is gonna be separate. It's gonna be its own individual
Okay.
policy.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, and hiring policy, which policy is that?
No, the hiring policy, which is personnel hiring.
So, do you know which policy that is? And just so we
The
have it
entire
pulled?
policy.
The entire policy,
Because I want to make sure that we're following the steps that we put back 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 years ago. Because I don't think the board here now is fully equipped to know that. And then for those who may remain, if you decide to run it then and you're successful, then you'll know what's going on. But I think you need to know what the policy states and how it should be transacted. So what day are you guys available?
I can do it every day but Monday of next week.
Melinda retired.
I'm free Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Okay.
What time?
You wanna do 11 o'clock on Wednesday?
Now, it's not going to be an hour hour meeting.
You wanna do
How's it gonna
earlier?
be?
It'll be long enough to get it done.
10 o'clock?
Still
You
ain't
wanna
good
start
for
at
you?
10?
You want me to sleep?
I think we need to start earlier.
I'm free all day
Melinda may
Wednesday.
be full of chickens.
Can you start earlier?
8? I have at 9, because we, yeah.
At 9?
9 o'clock.
I'll take my alarm, I'll be up.
Hey, Kaylee, and your other assignment is, I've asked this before, but this is my last time asking this. That wall, I want all the previous presidents to be on the wall.
They're on my table. We just need
Yeah,
to.
we just need to print it out.
This is about my third time.
Yeah, we need stickers. You bet that.
Yeah, it's, we were gonna put it on paper and cut it,
So
because
you
I
got-
got the stickers, but they
The
didn't
stickers
look good.
didn't work.
The stickers weren't
So
good.
you've been sneaking and doing stuff, not telling me.
I don't tell everything to my husband.
See, that's
I wonder if he's watching.
That's
Oh, no, he loves me.
why I trust the tree trunk to hold board.